一緒に撮ったのが初めて話した時があったから、約1年ぐらい経ちます。
Hello. First things first, I'm going to apologize if you hear like a low rumble or low humming sound coming from the room when I speak. I'm going to listen and see if I hear it really quickly. But I'm going to apologize in advance and I'll explain what that is. So 1 second. I don't think I hear it. I don't think I really hear it, so I hope that it's much the same for you guys. So this room, because of all of the electronics and stuff, it gets really, really hot. And in the summer, it's especially hot. So it's outside is 100 degrees on average this summer, which is actually pretty cool for what we've been dealing with. So at 46 degrees Celsius or something like that, 40, and we usually make it just about to 115 or more. And so that 49, 50 degrees Celsius is pretty average summer here. So I bought a special air conditioner unit that's supposed to be really nice and quiet and filter the air and keep this room at a really nice and chilly 65 degrees Fahrenheit. And that keeps all of my equipment in good running order, and it also keeps me a lot more comfortable because we'll do these 2 or 3 hour sessions and it's miserable. It's very hot and sweaty. The actual session, the playing the game, that's the fun part. Talking with you guys, that's the fun part. But being back here in that room is very uncomfortable. And so now here we are, and it's much, much, much more comfortable. I could actually sustain this without being miserable. So very nice there. Hello to Maki Sprites with the little emoticon. And to Ash, and then to Dr. Mad. Dr. Mad says, hello, Hammerheads. Hope everyone is doing well. I got MegaCon Live Manchester tomorrow. I'll have to get my head down handy later. I need to wake up at 6 a.m. to give me time to get there on the trains. Public transit does not really exist where I live. You have to own a car because there are vast stretches of unforgiving desert. And it's a very good chance that if you don't have a vehicle of your own, you're just going to be stranded in the middle of nowhere, at least a half-hour drive from the nearest place. And as a walk, obviously, it's a couple of hours. So, yeah, everybody's kind of got to have a vehicle here. Even a bicycle pretty well doesn't suffice because even as a bike ride, I mean, it's just absolutely miserable in the middle of the summer. Completely deadly if you don't have water. The guests this time around don't really appeal to me, so I'm just going to focus on the comic creators. Without them, Comic-Cons would never have had existed anyway. Sure, yeah. Aside from that, the venue where it's being held holds a lot of memories for me because it's the same place I used to go to MCM Manchester Comic-Con, my first convention back in 2013. That's not bad, not bad. I hear these firsts and then the year that it occurs, and I feel so much. I feel so old. But that's still a good 13 years worth of track record. So that's really nice. And no doubt I'll bump into some old friends of mine. That'll be good. I rewatched American Tail and American Tail 5 Will Goes West. I have to agree, I enjoyed it more than the original. I do too. That one's just fun. Dom DeLuise is Tiger. Jimmy Stewart as Wiley Burp, and John Cleese as I can't remember the cat's name, and then Chula the spider is just a funny character to me, but honestly, I really like it. One thing that surprised me was the voice actress Kathy Cavadini, who voiced Fievel's sister Tanya, went on to voice Blossom for the Powerpuff Girls. Well done too, because I really her song, the Somewhere Out There song, which appears in this movie, I believe, is one of those that I think has kind of persisted. I think there are people that just kind of hum that or whistle that or sing that randomly when I hear my wife going through stuff on the internet, and so, and well, you know, I think well deserved. It is just one of those. I mean, it's not something that's. It's not an easy song, but it's just something that kind of comes to mind really well, which I think is really neat. So it's only 90 here, but it's all human make. Oh, I'm sure. It had been bone dry. The majority of the summer, and then here we are in the middle of August. Yesterday, for about 4 hours, it just stormed like mad. And so we just got humidity, but the benefit is it's cooled down. I think it's like 80, I think it's close to where yours, the 89, 88, something like that. So I've got these things in the house that are cleaning the air up, scrubbing out the humidity, dehumidifying it. And again, the retro room is just it's a fun room, except for in all things but temperature. And so to have this little portable air conditioner that has done a great job of keeping the room at 65, despite, you know, and keeping my room dehumidified so my equipment doesn't get oxidized and, you know, all that. It's really nice. So I've never seen the other An American Tail sequels that were released direct to video, by the way. I don't think I have either. I think I've only ever seen the first one and then Fievel Goes West, which Fievel Goes West being my favorite of the two. The first one's fine. I mean, the thing about it is, what I really like about it is it's kind of it's an immigration story. I mean, the mice are immigrants, right? That's you hear that in Fievel Goes West when the father and the mother are talking about the land of opportunity and the water flowing and this and that and the other, and then of course it dries up and they live in this kind of, you know, barrel that has a shredded piece of cloth as the shield for it. And it's like, but it was because, and I think the story on this is kind of still very impactful because it's kind of the way we're living right now, like the land of opportunity, which has the flowing water and the flowers and all that good stuff that you see in the end. And it's because of greedy people and, you know, people that don't care about everyone else. They just want their own. Let me move this over to the gallery. We're in classic gallery since we're not playing Witcher today. My wife is busy with a big task, and so she is out and about running all of the errands. So All Dogs Go to Heaven is probably still my favorite Don Bluth film. Yeah, that one's really good. The sad fact of that one being that when Charlie, Burt Reynolds, is telling the girl, is it Celia? I cannot remember. It's been a long, long time. But when he's telling her character goodbye, it's a real kind of posthumous goodbye. The little girl who had acted as Celia, I think, or Cecilia. I don't know if it's Cecilia or Celia, but either way, the girl, the real girl that had acted, had passed away. And so Burt Reynolds was kind of posthumously actually hearing her voice from lines that she had already recorded and was actually saying goodbye. And that's part of what made the emotion in that scene feel so genuine. And I didn't know that. That was a sad thing I didn't know until way later. Because I watched that movie probably much, much closer to when it came out and was like, oh, this is pretty good, you know. Anna Marie, that's probably, yeah. But it makes that scene a lot more impactful. And not that was not an impactful scene in general, but just there are a lot of the I think Don Bluth did the animatics for Thumbelina, which I think was pretty good, pretty close to the source material. Anastasia, which of course is interesting. So, you know, there are a lot of good. And then of course all the, you know, the video game stuff, the Dragon's Lair and the Space Ace and all that good stuff. And that's kind of part of what I wanted to talk about today. So there are a couple of different things, right? Firstly, obviously, we're not getting off of The Witcher. It's just that, like I said, Anna isn't here today. She had to take care of a whole bunch of stuff, and so she's out working on all of that. I don't want to play it without her because it's really her playthrough. I've been through The Witcher multiple times, and the first one that I will go and have, first new go through I'll have on The Witcher 3 will be the new DLC coming out next year. So, but I've played that game multiple times. Titan AE is so underrated. Oh, I agree. I think Titan AE is great. That one I remember. That's another thing. I remember the commercials for that being so much more epic. Like, you don't see that, in my opinion. You don't see those types of commercials anymore. Like, I'm not saying, like, okay, this is my opinion, and animated videos are not really, at least I haven't seen, where animated videos are making any kind of splash in cinemas. It's CGI or whatever at the worst. Every trailer is kind of the same thing, and I think it's been that way since Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. No, not The Force Unleashed. I'm sorry. Episode 7, The Force Awakens. There we go. Force Unleashed is a video game. It's dramatic music, something said kind of in a whisper, and then another, like it could be a text or it could be a blank screen, another sting of the music, something else is said, extended dialogue, hero dialogue, another sting, unexpected scene dialogue, then major crescendo for music, then the biggest or the most shocking thing you can see could be a bad guy having no problem dispensing with a good guy, could have a bad guy just dominating the world, whatever it is, and then decrescendo or slow decrescendo into one last sting, and then a word whispered or a phrase whispered, and then the day of the release. That's kind of the pattern. But the Titan East, I mean, the commercials were all kind of the same back then too, but they were more like, you had that, like if it was a Disney thing, you had that Disney narrator. It was, coming to VHS and DVD soon, and then you have his basically just narrating kind of what the story is. Okay, cool. But I don't know, you got a little bit more out of it, I think. It's one of the many reasons I rarely watch film trailers these days. Yeah, it just doesn't seem like there's a lot of soul in them. That's part of kind of what I was going to talk about in this piece. The world's changing, and so should we. Things are dangerously turning against consumers in a lot of different areas. And it's not just in general consumerism, it's in a lot of different ways. For people who live in the United States, you probably are familiar with Flock cameras, which are cameras that are posted and able to basically surveil the area, any area, all areas, without the only consent they need is that you happen to be in that area at any given time, and it's everywhere. They were brought up to a lot of places as a lot of places, governments, a lot of states' governments, and told no. And then they got a second chance because they offered more money to the governments. And you're not supposed to get a second chance. If the people said no, you're supposed to be like, no. And I mean, you could technically appeal, I suppose, but there shouldn't be a monetary offer to it. So we have the will of the people being subverted by the amount of money that the cities and the towns and the states are being made. You have... changes are a double-edged sword. They can one way or the other. The same could be said for certain types of films and TV series. I'm not disagreeing. The only thing that will never change is that change will always happen, right? But at the same time, patterns evolve of change, and those patterns are indicative of what we can look forward to. So in the changes that I'm talking about, I'm not just talking about change. I'm okay with change, but the pattern that has begun to evolve from the changes that are occurring is something I think we need to start acting against. And I think it's a worldwide thing. I think America is currently kind of leading the charge in some of these, and I don't know that they're things I want to see the world adopt. I'm here. What are we talking about? We're talking about some. I've only just barely kind of broached the topic of some of the changes I'm seeing that are creating these patterns that are negative patterns. One of them was a series of surveillance cameras that we have everywhere that are allowed to watch you and surveil you without permission. It's, not if you've gone onto private property, but you could be on a public roadway and it's allowed to surveil you and use that and anonymously send you a ticket for whatever crime it supposes you've committed, and kind of removing the human element, which makes appealing much more difficult. And obviously there are delays when it comes to shipping you your ticket and this and that and the other. And the people had said no in a lot of places, and those people were overturned effectively because governments were allowed more money by the company, is my understanding. We're seeing, but this is just one change, right? We're seeing changes with ownership. We're seeing changes with consumer practice. We're seeing what I believe also is rapidly a dive into what I consider the beginnings of a post-literate society. Doctor Who is one show that's changed a lot over the decades. True. But in that case, I don't think that there was a pattern of change, but I don't think the changes were positive or negative. I think it's preferential, right? The Tennant Doctor is arguably one of the more popular doctors, but I'm sure that there were doctors that were less popular, but there wasn't a definitive pattern in that. One reason I stopped watching it was because it stopped being fun. It turned into convolved mess with an identity crisis, which that's fair too. I mean, it's very difficult to have the same different actors playing the same character for a very long time and then being able to maintain consistency in terms of an identity, because you're gonna take and latch on to the one that resonated with you the most, and then when it changes from that one inevitably to the next one, it's going to be disappointing. But we're seeing changes that I think are not good. We're seeing changes that I think are dangerous. We're seeing changes that I think we need to start doing stuff about these changes. I think one of the ones that scares me the most is, again, this kind of adaptation of post-literacy. Too many. I mean, it's not that people can't read; it's that the amount of information that people can understand from what they read, the amount of nuance that can be extrapolated, the vocabularies of these individuals, both read, written, and spoken, or I guess all read, written, and spoken, has diminished substantially. And there's a demand because of people in higher positions and people with more pay and people with supposed prestige. There's this demand that people who are not as good, quote unquote, in terms of title, need to lower their standards for those people. And we're seeing groups of people that are rebelling. We see groups of people that are still collecting books, that are still reading, which I think is phenomenal. I'm very happy to see that. Likewise, we're also seeing a lot of people who aren't. We're seeing people. I have people inside of the organization that I work with that are very well paid and up on the ladder, and yet they, if I use a word they don't understand, rather than say, hey, what does that mean? They are offended. And I think that's indicative of us moving towards post-literate society. I think it's begun slowly. I think it's begun with everything being read to you. I think it's begun with, I don't think audiobooks are bad. I'll go get into that in a second, but I think having AI generate your thought process and having AI tell you, talk with you, converse with you on it, and choosing not to go and refer to a book or try to find it in the source material, I do think that there are detriments to that. At least with Red Dwarf, it sticks to its guns. I know what it is. It's always been written by the creators, Doug and Rob, and it doesn't try to jump the shark, which is good. I think I like it when somebody decides that they're going to write and stick to it. Basically, it's, but we're seeing that, and I don't think that's unintentional. I think I think the attempt on that is to be. I think it's a control. I know this is going to sound a little conspiratorial, and it's not intended to. It's not intended to be a conspiracy theory type of thing, but I do feel like that it does happen that way. I do feel like that there are people in positions, people with power that want more power, and I feel like that there are people that don't have much power, but they have some, and the people that are in positions of great power want more, and so that means they have to take from those who don't quite have as much. And I think that that's being done, unapologetically now. Over here, new Prime Minister Andy Burnham is showing a lot of promise already, like bring back apprenticeships rather than just going straight to university. That's a good step. I think that's not a bad step at all. We've got the same president, and so far not much has been coming of that, in my personal opinion. Anybody who disagrees and enjoys him, that's your business and your prerogative. I can't say that this recent term has been very good for just about anybody that doesn't already have a ton of money in their pocket. Back in the 80s, apprenticeships were a dying breed, but thankfully my dad was lucky to get one. And apprenticeships are great. They're a great way to learn. I mean, it's you're talking about hands-on with somebody who does this. Right? Think about this. We used to have this. You had, and we still do. We still have trades that do this, right? You have apprentice, you have journeyman, and you have masters. And I think it's a good thing to keep that. I will not say a word about the Prime Minister. Well, you have your opinions, and your opinions are fine too, but I do think, regardless of the individual, I do think bringing apprenticeships out is a good thing. I would argue that it's much more useful to the general job market here, even in America, to have people that are training directly under people who have done this forever and a day and are oftentimes trained in the same vein. I think that's a good thing. But again, if our president brought that in, I would be appreciative of that. But so far, I don't know I'd care terribly much about the president, just because that would currently, at least this term, be one good thing in a pile of bad. And I think he's done maybe 3 good things in this entire 2-year period that I can kind of pull out. Indeed, as the late Fred Dibna said himself, I learned more by observation and asking questions than I ever did in school. It is. I mean, it's a big deal. It is a big deal. I like the idea of that. I do like the idea of apprenticeships being a big deal, and I like the idea of the titles being earned not because you were promoted because of money. It's just that's where we are now. Like, one of the things somebody had said this, and this was kind of interesting. They said, "What is one thing that that being an adult in the work environment has taught you?" And somebody had said that being likable was more important than being good at your job. What a terrible sin that is, and also that's a very true statement. I can't stand my country and what it's become and the road it's going down. We're an absolute embarrassment in the share of our former self. I will move as soon as I can. And Maki says this, I assume, is what that is. Maki, I cannot remember. Do you live in the same country as Ash? You don't have to say anything. I don't want to undo any anonymity. I just was curious. I was under an impression that you were American. If you are American, I understand where you're coming from. Still, I just wanted to, in my mind, clear it up. But what we're doing right now is, and it's nothing new in terms of, I mean, we've had books and writings and people that have talked about this a ton, is we're giving people who have too much more, and we're giving people who have too little not. And I really, really detest that. I'm really, really against that. one of the things that I had wanted to bring up in this is, I'm English in case of confusion. One of the, so this is, I thought we were in the U.S. though. Now I think about it, I'm unsure. Regardless, oh no, that's fair. I was just looking to clarify for my own understanding. I understand exactly where you're coming from, Maki. I absolutely do. I just wanted to, in my own mind, clear up things. For example, you can pick up a book written by an academic, and it might say that the rivets are closed. Sure. Well, however, it doesn't explain how they're actually closed until you see someone doing it in practice. Oh, sure. And it's also easier to actually see someone using a rivet gun and then to copy that than it is to read how to use a rivet gun and then do that. And I'm not saying that that's what universities do, but it's just when you're apprenticing to an individual, to a master, to a journeyman, even if that's possible, they can show you hands-on how to use the rivet gun. And when they see that you've made a mistake, hey, no, there's a safety slide right there, pull that out, and then pull the trigger mechanism. And it's, so I do like that practice. I think that's a good practice. But I think that people we're getting to a point, and it's been this way for a minute. We've been trying to kind of get that way, where it's more important that you listen and do what you're told, and accept what you're being given as all that you deserve, if not more, than it is that you just learn the skill or dive in and do the thing or take what it is you want or need or earn. I don't know, it's a dangerous world. I hope we see an increase in people who are reading books. I want to see that. I hope we see an increase in people who are questioning things that don't make sense, regardless of the position. If you have a boss and the boss is doing something that you believe to be an unethical thing or something that's going to get you in trouble, if you allow it to continue to its conclusion, I think it's appropriate to call that out. I think it's appropriate when somebody decides to say nonsense business jargon or nonsense government law jargon, whatever, that we say, no, we're not going to tolerate that. That we say that we are insistent that we receive better from people that are in these positions. And I do not agree. I don't think you have to be rude. I think yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am is just fine. You can certainly keep the honorifics, but when somebody comes and tells you something that you know to not be in the best interests of yourself or the people you might represent, I think that no is a perfectly acceptable answer. Even if they outrank you, I think no is a perfectly okay answer. The only place and time that may not be okay is in military application, the middle of the battle, where somebody says, do this because otherwise you might get killed. In which case, no is probably not the greatest answer, right? But otherwise, and that's literally 99% of it, anything but that, I'm sorry, that's 1% of it, 99% of it is not that. I would say you should be able to say, no, I don't think that's in the best interests of myself, my client, my people, my whomever, right? Originally, my dad wanted to serve his apprenticeship with British Rail, but because it wasn't in the best shape during the 1980s, he instead completed his apprenticeship at a factory making and repairing parts. Well, okay. It's still a good path. I think where we're starting to see it with consumers, and this is where it gets really tricky, is I think we're starting to see this kind of collaboration between, I think this word gets overused, but I think this is probably the appropriate word, collusion, between people in government and people in business, where we're seeing the things that consumers like being taken away from them. And I think the most egregious example of this is ownership. I think that 20 years ago, we had a company which put forth the idea that planned obsolescence could be done legally somehow. That to buy a device and make sure that you only supported it for a period of time before you had to move on to the next device was going to be the commonplace practice. And that you purchasing something that didn't technically belong to you, you own a license for, means that they can infinitely resell it to you in other forms when your device inevitably fails because of the previously or the aforementioned planned obsolescence. And it kind of brings, I'm going to take it way down because I've gone to these big important ones like what I would consider to be unethical surveillance and not listening to the people and money in favor of, or money as opposed to people and all this other stuff. I'll bring it way down to where we are at the consumer level, and I'm going to bring my prescription for it. And of course, I'm not an expert necessarily. I'm well versed for sure, but I'm not an expert. I don't think anybody can be on this. The problem people have is that they do not care about themselves. We could die tomorrow and spend our miserable lives working for people who we mean nothing to, making them money for nothing. I do think that's true. I think that people also feel this. So I'll give you an example. I have the pleasure of working with this gentleman in his 60s. He's an incredibly good guy, very smart, just a very sweet guy, good personality, inquisitive, intelligent. But he's been conditioned when he was younger. He was conditioned that you always say yes or no, sir, and you never question anything. And even as a parent, I think that's, I am a parent. I've been a parent for a while. I think that's a terrible way to maintain things. I think you should, again, if you disagree, that's okay, and I'm happy to have a conversation about it, but I think that it's more important that the child learn how to think critically than it is for them to learn that what you say is law. Now, there are obviously going to be circumstances where you need to pull a kid out of traffic. You know, your kid's waddled out into traffic, and you're going to restrict them from doing that, and you may not be able to explain in the moment why you've done that, right? But I think that just letting the conversation die at "because I said so" is one of the most disingenuous and terrible things we can do. If your kid is young enough, I think we should aspire to speak more clearly and in a way that we think that they can understand, or try to help them understand. And then we can leave that conversation at worst at, hey, I know you don't understand now. I'm going to try to explain, but if you don't understand, we will come back to this when you're a little older. We'll come back to this when you have a little bit more understanding, when you can understand a little bit more, right? And open up those critical thinking muscles. And this gentleman, who is in his 60s, does not have that. He is very much like, well, because the boss has said so, I have to do this. And I've gone back and said, do you believe it to be ethical? And he's come back and said, well, no. And I said, okay, then you can't just say, yes, I'll do it. If you believe it to be unethical, you need to draw a line somewhere where either you get them to explain the ethics of it and figure out where if you agree, where you agree if you agree, or you need to definitively tell them, no, this is unethical. But he's so indoctrinated, and it's not the company that we work for that's done this. It's several bouts of conditioning from prior companies and from parentage and such. That's what it was. It's just, if somebody in a bigger position says yes or no, then you if they say jump, you say how high. And I think that conditioning is harmful, because I think that is literally anti-intellectual. You need to be able to determine what you believe is and isn't ethical, isn't worth doing, why it is and isn't ethical or worth doing, and have that conversation. Because the result doesn't need to be profit. It needs to be progress. Ironically, my dad worked at a factory. He knew a middle-aged man who became one of the victims of the Hillsborough disaster in 1989, which was the worst football incident in British history. Goodness. I used to have a job working with kids, and I remember correcting them in a way that shouldn't have my opinion. That they shouldn't have my opinion. They should think about things I say and make their own. Reminds me, that's a great way to do it. It's when my daughter was little, the same way that I would do this. Hey, I don't. She was beaming. She was proud to be like me. And I said, hey, if you really are proud about that, that's wonderful. I mean, I'm always proud of you for making any progress, but I want us to share these genuine interests. You don't have to try to become interested in what I do. I'm the adult. I'll happily do that for you. I'll become interested in your stuff. But I want you to find your own way. If I like Star Wars, and she's getting to the point where she is just in Star Wars all the time now, which is great. But it happened organically. It happened with her doing, and so now we can share that. But there was never pressure. It was like, if this isn't something you're into, when she was little, she wasn't into Star Wars. It was just kind of there, and it's like, all right. But now she's in it, and I'm like, oh, that's really cool. But it's any which way. My point is that critical thinking, like saying, you don't have to have my opinion. Think about what I'm telling you. Think about the structure that I'm giving you, and then see if you can, develop your own. I think that's great. The more that time passes, the more I realize how awful everything is and how you just have to deal with it. Make the most of what you can. Make the most of what you have and what you can do, and enjoy your life before you die. I think that's true, but I also think that part of the problem that we have is we keep trying to make each of ourselves individually comfortable by coping effectively. Like we look and say, okay, these two things can coalesce. Therefore, I'm copacetic, and it's, in my opinion, I mean, I agree that there's some of that, but I also think that we have to be more brave about standing up and saying no. Right? When something bad happens, it is conflict that we're inviting and that we're actually engaging in. But it's appropriate conflict, and I think we need to be comfortable standing up, whether it be individually or en masse, and saying no. If people I've spoken with people high up in my company, and I've written them letters and said, this is not good. I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. Unless you can have somebody come out and explain the ethics of it to me, I will not participate. And I've never had them come and do that. I've only had them, try to come back a couple of times and be like, well, but, we need that. I'm like, yeah, I know you do, but you're going to find a way to get it ethically, or I'm not doing it. That's just how that works. Money should never be the sickness, right? It should always ever be the symptom. Consumers, people, client centricity, that should be the sickness. Money is always a symptom of that sickness, but if the sickness is money is not even a symptom of its own sickness. The odds are that you're just going to find yourself worried sick half the time when you lose it, and when you gain it, you're going to find yourself making yourself sick. Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day kind of thing. Oh, absolutely. That's exactly. It's as simple as that little analogy right there, right? It's telling people, like, I'm not going to tell you that this is... I'm not going to give this to you and tell you this is what it is, because then you will only eat for a day, but I'll teach you how I caught it, and you might catch ones that are different and more fulfilling or less fulfilling, My late granddad had many jobs throughout his life, but the longest one was a window cleaner. He started doing it back in the 1980s and continued until he retired in 2009, by which time he was already in his mid-70s. That's definitely dedicated, but think about that also, is the longest one you have is a window cleaner. And think about how today being a window cleaner may not even allow you to pay the bills. The objective is to have more people work more hours so that the small amount of people who run these companies don't really have to. I mean, they call it work, but what is it really? They're up in board meetings. They're sitting down in temperature-controlled rooms with other wealthy people, determining how many of you they can afford to keep this year and how many they need to cut back on because of whatever. I'm just tired, man. I don't care anymore. Very specific family members and literally a handful of friends will have my attention. The human race is diseased. Oh, yeah. No, the human race is a disease. It's not just diseased. We are the pox of the earth. I was speaking with speaking of speaking with people in the company. I was speaking yesterday with one, and they had asked me a question about my animals, pets, and such. And I don't let a lot of my personal life bleed into my business at all. But they said, "Is it true?" They'd heard through the grapevine that I had an animal. Yeah, I do. I have that animal. And I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Yeah, all animal species are welcome in my home, save for one, because I love all animals equally except for that one. That one I detest, and that one is man." And it's the cumulative. Like, obviously, I like individual people. I've had the pleasure of getting to meet some of the greatest minds and conversationalists on this platform. Ash is no exception. Dr. Mad Maki, you are all great. Having gotten to speak with you, good Lord, I couldn't say that. Having gotten to speak with you guys for so long, and there's several other ones that I've gotten to speak with. Obviously, the horsemen like Omega and Vidi and Thumb, and so many other people that had come in like Miss Maggie and Bogus, and such good people. But I wouldn't be too pessimistic, but you're not wrong. Philosophically, I am a little bit of a Schopenhauerian pessimist. I don't. It doesn't lead me. There's no extreme thoughts. Let me be very, very clear on that. There's no extreme thoughts. There's no, end of life style thoughts. None of that. But I am a bit of a Schopenhauerian pessimist because I think that the more that we've kind of let things go, the more that we've seen that the people will have a tendency to hurt people. Hey Retro, how's it going? Hey Fighting Max, I'm all right, I guess. I mean, I'm still fighting the identity theft stuff, the hacking stuff that's been going on, but I think for the most part they're locked out of new access, so I've just got to reclaim what they've already taken from me, and we should be good. I'm working with Discord right now to get the server transferred back over, or get it transferred over to my new account, so hopefully they'll do that for me pretty quickly. I try living in England, being optimistic will vanish. The U.S. is pretty harsh too, honestly. I mean, it is a worldwide thing at this point. There are places, I'm sure, pockets in the world that we could live that would be more harmonious and perhaps more conducive to the types of lives that we want. But, I mean, it's a weird thing now to live in a world where you're made fun of for reading. That is kind of the world that I'm living in right now. I mean, I have people. I like to read. I got books, and I've got people that are pop up to me and be like, "Hey, do you even understand that?" And I'm like, "Well, I haven't finished the book yet, so probably not. But I'm sure once I finish, I'll have at least some understanding of it." Yeah, I just gave up on. I just gave up on trying to read any of that stuff. It's just too much. Oh well, then that's probably why you'll never understand it. You just gave up. That kind of stuff. Fair, I guess. I'm unaware of what's happening over there. Not great. Oh yeah, no, you're not wrong, Maki. Not at all. I agree. But this is why. So this is why I'm proposing a few things. And I'm gonna funnel them way down because obviously it would be a very difficult and very long stream for me to articulate my thoughts on this and open up a great forum over all of these, though I wager that I will have additional galleries of thoughts in future which will cover other individual topics about this. Right, I gotta head off and make some last checks for tomorrow's convention. Later, Hammerheads. You have a great day, Dr. Mad. It's always a pleasure to get to talk with you. I hope you have a wonderful day at the convention, and best luck on all of your checks. I wager that we'll have a more conversation on this. Sorry, wanted to adjust my seat. We'll have a good conversation on this. The reason I try not to comment on America outside of jokes is that I don't live there. The amount of lies I hear about my country and that we're exaggerating is tiring, and I'm sick of it. There are all kinds of weird things going on here. There was a proposal, I believe, that came in the middle of a big pile of stuff. Now, I'd have to double, triple, and quadruple check, but it was something about not. United States has been a big partner of the Israel, what is it, ISF? And Israeli military, basically, in this big battle that we've had of Israel versus Palestine. And there was this big thing passed in the middle of it where it's like, hey, we're going to disengage from that war, but then apparently inside of the 500-page document says something about starting to kind of integrate the Israeli military into our own military as full-on partners versus just being support. And it's like, again, if hopefully that's not right, hopefully that was a misread or I misunderstood or something like that, but we're not making moves that I think are in the interest of the people here either. I don't think you're exaggerating at all. I don't think you're exaggerating at all. I don't think the grass is any greener over here, but I don't think the grass is green over there either. Like if I were going to move, I don't think England would be my number one place either. I think I'd probably try to go somewhere that's a little less on the radar. But you come to America, you've got a different set of the same problems. You don't have consumer protection law. You don't have, again, healthcare isn't considered a right. You don't, in most of your jobs, you're not going to get paternity leave. You're not going to get a majority of maternity leave. You're not guaranteed sick time, except for by the states, but you're not federally guaranteed any, as far as I'm aware. States may or may not decide that you can or can't have what is a very limited amount of, So there are a lot of things we need to work on over here also. But one of the things I think that's really impacting us is, let's see, where I live isn't too bad, to be honest, but America at large and the politics of it have been bad for a very long time. Yeah, that's true. But everyone who lives here thinks it's fine. Everyone else who lives here thinks it's fine, making it worse. Yeah. It's all we can do to try to find good in a world of bad things happening. And yes, being aware of the things that are happening is good. There's not a lot of things we can change. Lots of propaganda. Yeah. When I say we're exaggerating, I'm tired of people outside the country saying things aren't as bad as we claim, that it's just doom and gloom news. No, it's not. I'm here. It's awful everywhere. Oh, yeah. No, I get where you're coming from. That's why I'm saying I want to be very clear. I don't think you're exaggerating at all. I think the world is, but the problem, and I agree that it's good to find good in a world of bad things. But the problem with it is that that's a lot of times like finding light in the cloudy night sky, right? As the clouds come around, we're seeing fewer and fewer stars, and it's getting to the point where we have to start bringing our own light. We have to start, we're not going to find that light anymore. We have to start bringing the bleeding flashlight out and shining it wherever we need to, because there's less to be found, but there's plenty of room to make. I do think we can. I do think that we can make some changes. I do think that there are things that we can start doing. I think we can. I think for as far as people go, I think starting to participate in voting, I think that's one. If you're not already, if you can find somebody who can. I think businesses having anti-consumer practices mean that consumers should be able to have anti-business practices. I've said this before. I'll tell you right now, talking about the Sony thing, which is a much smaller issue, that everything that I own that has the game on the disc is being ripped and digitally preserved on a solid state drive that does not have DRM. And so, yes, it is still digital, but it's mine. Now, in the eyes of the law, is it? Maybe, maybe not. In the eyes of practical application, is it? Yeah, I can access it whenever I please. The James Bond game just recently had to remove their de novo DRM. I think partially because of the $30,000 per month fee, and I think the other part was was causing performance issues with the game. You can now go get that game on the PC platforms, I believe, for not for free, but for the normal price, DRM free. I think we have to start showing what we want instead of caving in. I was talking to somebody about this a couple of months ago, and I was talking specifically about when this is coming a little bit more fresh out of the Sony thing. And the reason I'm changing this is I'm not changing the topic. The topic is basically big bad things happen and what we can do to make those changes or to inspire those changes. We were talking about Grand Theft Auto 6 and saying Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming out. Even the physical edition, quote unquote, is a digital edition. It's a case, it's art, but it's no disc. And he says, I'm weak, I'm going to get it anyway. And I said, I'm not. I won't touch it. I don't care how fun I think it is. If CD Projekt Red came out, it's one of my favorite companies of all time, and said, we're going to make Cyberpunk 2, but it's going to be digital only and it's going to have DRM, I would say, oh, okay, well, I'm not buying it. Love the company. That move would probably move the needle in an opposite direction for me. Now, if they said, hey, we're putting it out there, it's DRM free, but we can't make a physical edition. Okay, I understand. But I own this, right? I don't just have a license to play it. I own this, right? Yeah. Yes, you do. Okay. Yes, I'll purchase. I'm not even upset about the digital going away. I'm upset about the fact that it's going to create a monopoly, and I'm upset about the fact that it's going to take another step of ownership away from people because people aren't focusing on owning their property. Physical was kind of something that allowed us some ownership because I could rip the disc and take those files and put those on something else. Now it's all digital, all DRM, and only on their platform. That is anti-consumer. That is pro-business. This is a very small slice of businesses and people and governments that operate with these businesses not caring about the people. Not to undermine or compare anyone's suffering, I just want to encourage people not to sink into nihilistic ideas, even if no, you're fine. One of the things, I've talked about this before, and you might disagree with me here. I've talked about this before, though, about my opinions on how negativity and anger are such powerful weapons and tools and good weapons. I'm not disagreeing with you, and I think, having spoken with you, I think you're probably coming from a place of much more informed ask than any other person that has made this. But I think a lot of people get worried that if we aren't positive, then we aren't productive. I think it's that if we that if we don't stay positive, or we don't stay optimistic, or we don't stay happy, that we're somehow doing less or being less than. And I don't think that's the case. I think that being angry and being, now, nihilistic, obviously, saying it doesn't matter, I understand where that, and I think that kind of apathy could absolutely be bad. But for people to be pessimistic and upset and angry about it, that I think is great, because I think it's a good and powerful motivator. If I'm worried about something bad happening, I'm more inclined to be preventative rather than being optimistic. So that's what I'm trying to convey. I'm not trying to convey that anybody should just throw it away. People don't care enough, and that's what's right. Well, and I don't disagree with you, but my problem with that is we shouldn't let that become a domino effect, which it seems to become. Like, saying people don't care and then saying, so therefore I don't either. That, I think, is what's really hurting us. I think that there are a lot of people that are saying, and Sony said this. Sony actually said, when they were talking about their thing, they said, this is going to have zero impact on the business. They are that confident that just moving to digital only is not going to affect them at all. And so it would be like me saying, well, everybody already bought the Call of Duty games or whatever. So, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and do it too, just because why? I mean, what difference is mine going to make? That's only what, 80 or 100, $80 more, $100 more that they make from me. Like, I'm not going to be the one to make a difference. It's like, no. I'm not going to buy it on principle, regardless of whether everybody else is or isn't. I'm not going to contribute to that. So I don't. I'm not going. I'm not going to buy another new PS5 game, and I'm not going to buy any digital ones. And I haven't. I have purchased only used PS5 games, because when you buy a new PS5 game, that money goes to Sony. When you buy a used one, Sony already had gotten their money from the initial purchase, so whatever purchase I'm making is going towards the person that I'm buying it from. So I'm okay with that. I'm supporting local businesses. I'm only purchasing physical, only the discs that I can find. So I'm not going to Walmart or Target or GameStop and buying brand new games off of the shelf. I'm going to the mom and pop game shops that I have here, and I'm buying used games if I want one from them, and they can have my money. It's complicated. I do think all emotions can be used and are better to work through things than around. I just prefer people not to be hopeless. Hopeless is, yeah. I mean, I think that's not a bad idea. To retain hope, I think, is a good thing, right? I don't think being optimistic is ideal, but I think that hoping for the best is good. And but I think that should be tacked on to the end of whatever emotion that you're currently having to fight the argument. So, for me, I'm going to not purchase games from them, or I'm going to vote for this person, or I'm going to fight against this and hope that it's a better outcome than if I had done nothing. But I am going to use that anger and that upset to fuel the action that leads to the hope that there will be a change. I think that's perfectly acceptable. I'm not. Yeah, I think that's perfect. I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to want, or to prefer. I think that's fine. I think it's okay to be nihilistic to some things, and I think to me, I'm not. So to exercise what I would consider to be appropriate nihilism, I'll give you an example. I don't care about titles. I don't care if you're my boss or boss's boss or boss's 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 boss. I have no indication based upon things that I value and consider competent that you have any of those, regardless of you having a title, right? And I have no indication that the person that hired you had any either, right? Sometimes sometimes a person with a big title is the mistake of a person with a bigger title. So what I usually want to see in that is competence. I want to see how good you are at doing what you're doing. And in terms of your just having a title and that being your authority, I am completely nihilistic. I don't care at all. It is pointless. It does not matter. It will not appeal to me in one way. It will not appeal to me. It will not disincentivize me. It means nothing, right? But in terms of like life, I'm not a nihilist. I'm not a nihilist in well, I don't know. I'm a pessimist, yes, certainly, but I'm not a nihilist at all. But I think that's a perfectly fair ask. And I understand exactly where you're coming. Right? Not exactly, but I understand. I think I understand very well where you're coming from. Let me say. But I think we should be more. I think we should be making bigger strides to disallow. I think we should be making bigger strides to disallow these people, these bigger people, to take on so much power. I think we should start taking things back. I think that being pro-business but anti-consumer should be terrible. I mean, like a last resort survival type of thing. I think we should make sure that we are taking control of I think it's perfectly okay to be anti-business. I think it's perfectly okay to be pro-consumer, anti-business. And it's, if basically the profit goes one way or the other, it should go to the consumer, not the business, because that's how you're going to continue repeat business anyway. It's inevitable that if you allow the consumer to have the greatest experience, that profit will come to the business as a result of consistency in that kind of delivery. Apologies for being off topics, but have you ever been to medieval times? I've never been to medieval times. I have been to Renaissance fairs and festivals, but I've never actually been to the eatery medieval times now. I think my familiarity was it the Cable Guy. I think that's probably the extent of my familiarity with that. This guy's Doctor Who. Could be. Yeah. So, but yeah. I think the first things first is stop buying from people that stop investing in things, businesses, people who don't invest in you. That's number one, right? If it's a person that they're not willing to invest time in you, don't invest time in them. If it's a business that's not willing to invest their resources into making sure that you are either, if you're working for them, that you're in a good position and able to grow, or if it's a company that services you and they're not willing to make sure that you're happy and satisfied with service, go to another one. Go to their competitor. Go somewhere else. Go do whatever. You don't like this brand's not taking care of you, and they're like, so what? Go get something else. Go to their competitor across the street. Tell them about that experience. I bet you get white glove treatment at least that first time. I have one near me at my mall. I've only seen the gift shop, and it looks amazing. Like I said, I think my familiarity with it is pretty limited. I think it's pretty well just I think it's the Cable Guy was the movie, Jim Carrey and Matthew Broderick, I think, and I think that's pretty well all I know about it. I know it as, I think, predominantly an eatery, but I guess now knowing it has a gift shop, maybe it's a little bit more all-encompassing experience than I thought. I mean, I love the fact that we can celebrate the medieval times without the threats that they had back then, like dying of the plague and the like. That's kind of nice. But there are things that I really think, going back to tying that in, there are things that we goodness, I talk about us moving into post-literate society. The following of the Dark Ages, right? The Dark Ages followed a time after the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, I think. And it was a time where literacy was limited. Literary resources were limited because a ton of them had been destroyed. And yeah, we're moving very rapidly, in my opinion, very rapidly into a second Dark Age. Intellectually, right? In terms of literacy and in terms of general intellect, critical thinking. It's dinner and a show. Okay, so it is mostly an eatery, but it does a show too. Okay, yeah, that's what I kind of had thought. Thought you meant the literal times. I was unaware it was a store. Yeah. It's a whole business called Medieval Times. Yeah, I don't have any of them anywhere near me, but it would be kind of a cool thing to try. To see, I've like I said, seeing it if it's anywhere the way it was in that, which was late 80s, early 90s. I think it would be really fun to do. It's something it would be on my list of things I want to do, bucket list or whatever. But yeah, I think we have to start changing. I think we have to start demanding more from people. I think we need to start calling people out, regardless of titles, regardless of positions. We need to start calling people out when they're unintelligent, and we need to be calm about it. We don't need to, but you said, no, just calm. There's a good example of this. I think there's a small interview I had gone on. I think this clip had gone viral between two entertainers, and one of them, I believe, English was not his first language, and he's talking to this young lady, and he says, you're quite scintillating. Now he says it in what sounds to me to be like a British English, and I can't specifically but he says English isn't his first language, so that's my ear associating it with the closest approximation I have. But he says scintillating, and she goes, "Oh, really? What does that mean?" And he says, "Well," and he kind of struggles and goes back and forth, back and forth. He didn't know what the word scintillating meant, but he used it. And she called him out for using. She was put in this position where he's kind of putting her she was put in this position where I guess she was kind of uncomfortable with it. And when he says that, she kind of politely calls out that, what is that? When you're saying that, what does that mean? What is that? And I think it's okay I think it's okay to do that. Person of authority comes in and they said, do this or do that or whatever. And you say, well, I don't know if that makes sense. You want to elaborate? And if they can't elaborate, then I usually just say, well, I'm sorry, I can't participate in that until I have an understanding. People are completely cabbaged nowadays. I'm not sure exactly the connotation of that. That use of the word cabbaged. I don't know. I don't know if I know what that means. And I mean, in this context, I can draw some clues and say that it's probably, vegetables or whatever. But I don't. I don't know what it actually means. You might have to elaborate for me on that one. It's scary to see how many adults have no critical thinking skills now. Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But that's taught. It's taught because people want you in a position that's vulnerable. If I take away, for example, let's say I'm in a position to make money, and I can make money from you guys, and I go in here and I decide I'm going to be this guy that tells you all of these things that are going to help make me money that sound good to you, and I'm not going to tell you all the fine print stuff that I don't really have to disclaim, and then you're going to believe me because I'm in a position of influence, right? And I'm an influencer of some sort, which is a ridiculous term, by the way. I can use that influence as a snowball, almost rolling downhill, to continue to gain and garner more influence. And then my only skill is saying that I have skill, and that compounds. And I can take advantage, which I think is happening to a lot of people, right? Is we have people that are influencers, quote unquote, and they're tugging at little emotional strings, and you're not not you specifically, but people are not questioning whether or not the pull is something that's actual genuine connection or whether that's something that's just manufactured. We've talked about parasocial relationships and such, and I've talked about how I believe it's possible to use the internet in the same way that back when I was younger we used to use pen pals, when we would write letters and send them off and have pen pals. I do think that's possible, but the pen pal thing and this are similar in that they aren't asking for anything beyond conversation, whereas a lot of what we're doing is influenced by emotions that are manufactured by companies and people saying things they know are going to get a reaction. Like if I came up here and I said something intentionally inflammatory, it's why I come up and kind of am ambiguous, right? Because I want to broach the topic with respect and some level of impartiality whilst disclaiming that I have an opinion. But if I had come up here and said, America's the worst country in the world now, here's why, 10 reasons why, is that going to get some people to click on it? Sure. Do I believe that's a true statement? No, I can pick other places in the world that are still worse, right? I think America's way poorer off than it was even just a few years ago. But I would rather be here than the Democratic Republic of the Congo. That's a personal opinion. So, people talking about topics or even saying words they have no knowledge on is far too common nowadays. Well, it is because it means cabbage, mental brain. Okay, fair enough. That's fair enough. I thought context clues, vegetative or something like that would have been what. Yeah, but okay, it's around what I would have approximated its meaning to be. And it's okay to, like, again, this is what you get when you get a speech from somebody. This is what you get when you get a conversation from, I had I don't know to drop names or anything, but a meeting yesterday where we were told to go after our clients with vengeance. And I'm like, I'm not Batman. Like this is a client orientated business. This is not, vengeance has no place. Like, and to be fair, to her credit, she corrected herself. The word she put in afterwards was better than vengeance, but wasn't really what she meant either, because, or at least if it were, it wasn't a good fit. But it's like, this is a person, by the way, who gets paid way more than I do, right? Not just a position ahead of me, a couple of positions ahead of me. And she's saying attack with vengeance. And I'm like, vengeance to people who have done us no wrong. Like, there's no reason that's... But this is the person that's being paid so much more well than I, that has apparently been to college, that has apparently been to... And it's just like, my goodness. Yeah, no, I'm not Batman. I'm not going to go out there and be like, the client didn't do what I wanted, so I snapped his neck. Like, this is my client. If the client doesn't do what I want, then I say, oh, I'm sorry, I guess my solution doesn't fit your problem. Well, if anything changes, give me a call, and then I go somewhere else. It's not difficult. But we've oh man, we just got it. We got to attack everything. It's this rise and grind mentality is absolutely my least favorite thing that we have developed in the past decade. This thought of you have to get up every morning, like these stupid routines of getting up at 3 a.m. and doing this and no. You need to enjoy your life. Make sure your sleep hygiene's okay. Do good work. Don't overwork yourself. Balance. I would argue it's more important to find balance in life than it is to find success, because I think success is a moving goalpost, but I think if you find balance, you'll feel successful. Right? If you can find a way to balance the stresses of your life with the stresses of your job with your family and all, I think you'll feel success without actually having to define it, because you'll call it balance. But I think if you say success is a moving goalpost. It's how much money or what type of car or what type of house or how good of a father. It moves all over the place, and you have to try and nail every one of those down to be successful. So I would argue if you find balance, that will be a success that you don't need to call that, but it's just, that will be the success worth finding if it is. I remember hearing reading was being made fun of as performative a bit ago, as if there's no reason to read but to impress. It is. That's a perfect point you brought up. It was. I had that happen. I was reading. Had a meeting. This was not recent, right? This was March, not this past March, but the March prior. Talking about people I work with. I was working with these people who had come into town to work in my area, and I have a business partner in this area that works with me, and then these two people were coming from out of town, out of state, and they wanted to talk, and so I don't eat the same way everybody else does. So business dinners and lunches I don't do anything. I'm not interested in eating. But I don't want to just sit there. And a lot of times they're not talking to me. It's just dinner. So I sat down and I had my little book with me, and I was just reading on it while I was waiting for everybody to get to the table. And at that time it was a copy of The Republic. It was by Plato. I was reading that copy. And I've got this old, it's battered. Like, I've gone through this thing so many times. It's in shambles. I need a better copy. But I was reading. It's just, I like to go through stuff like that. I really like to go through the things that I feel like, I like to read things that I know that I won't likely comprehend the first read through, so that I have opportunities to go through and find little pieces each time. And so a lot of philosophers are that way. Plato's that way, Aristotle's that way, Socrates is that way, Nietzsche's that way, Schopenhauer is that way, Jung is that way. There's just tons of philosophers. Descartes is that way. So, and I'm reading my little book, and it was considered performative. I'm not holding it up on the table and making it like book's kind of below table line so that people aren't noticing, because I don't want my book to get dirty, and secondly, I don't need everybody looking at me while I'm reading a book. Other people are talking and they're enjoying their conversation, and I'm not. And when the people came to sit at my table, business partner knows me very well, didn't say anything. He knows. Wait, next guy gets the table. Next guy's great, by the way. He's not with our company anymore, but great guy, super good guy. Still talk with him. And he's like, hey, are you reading? I was like, yeah, I can put it up. And he's like, no, go ahead. He's like, we're probably going to talk about something, sports or something, whatever. What you reading? And I showed him, and he's like, oh, that's so good, man. I got to go through mine again. And he's just a brilliant guy. And then the other person gets there, and it's like, so you read, huh? And I'm like, what are you reading? And I'll show it. I put my bookmark in, I put it down, I set it face down. I'm not trying to, again, this is not, and it was, oh, okay, I see. Well, I mean, is it normal for you to just go out and read? I said, yeah, I have 2 books. I keep one in my car, my vehicle, for any downtime or breaks during traveling. That one is what I go through then. And then I said, I have one that I'll work at while I'm at my house. So I'm usually going through 2 books at a time, one for travel and one for when I go back home. This is my travel book, and because I showed up first, I figured I would bring it in with me and kill some time, not just be, sit here twiddle my thumbs. I don't want to be on my phone. Oh, okay. Oh, that's just kind of odd, I mean, I guess I read a book recently. And okay, what book did you read? Well, The Subtle Art of Not Giving. Oh, okay. Yeah, you know that book? Yeah, I know that book. I know Mark Manson. Oh, okay. I don't know, man. I just like I think finance books are kind of just where everything's at right now. I think that people that aren't reading finance books are really missing the boat. Yeah, okay, that's cool. I like philosophy. Yeah, but I mean, like, can you use philosophy nowadays? Because philosophy's kind of hard. Like, money's easy, right? But philosophy, yeah, you can use philosophy quite a lot, actually. Yeah, but I mean, it's kind of hard. Like, we already know what the rules are, so why not just do the rules? Like, follow the rules, and then you don't have to have philosophize. Yeah, but the rules were made by people who feasibly had a philosophy, and if I don't agree with that philosophy, then I'm not going to follow the rules. And it was just back and forth of having to justify why I didn't read a specific type of material, why my reading this type of material was somewhat possibly performative, and yeah, it was such a rough day. I remember the day crystal clear. It was so rough. Be Bruce Wayne. I am the knight. I think what Maki said exists because there absolutely are people out there who like to make it known that they read and therefore are more intellectual, and some even pretend to be readers. Well, that's the problem, though, is that reading used to be a skill that it would be impressive and could be more performative because literacy wasn't great. Like if you were someone who, I'm going to read this book, my goodness, of course, right? When you have people that are, illiterate, but everybody learns to read, I think now pretty well when you go into primary school. So why, that doesn't, reading there's this false equivalence between someone who reads and someone who is intelligent. There are people out there who read nothing but garbage all of the time, what I call brain candy. And I don't get me wrong at all. I love brain candy. I read brain candy too, but I also read things that I want things that stimulate my thought processes, So like brain candy is, in my opinion, like the cyberpunk book. Like that, it's a good book. It's a fun book. It's brain candy. It doesn't teach me anything except for a story. And then there are books that are more educational that I like to read. Like I think the one I'm starting now is called oh shoot, let me pull it. It's on my stack of things here on my desk. It's My Sister and I by Friedrich Nietzsche. It was a book that he apparently wrote while he was in an institution. And I think it was people had tried to suppress it and not let it be published and such. And of course it eventually did. I think 40, 50 years, and then it finally got published. And so I'm starting on that one. And that's not as much brain candy because he likes to kind of invoke the thoughts of his readers, which I think is great. But there are people out there who just read brain candy, and that doesn't make you any smarter. It makes you a more capable reader, right? But it doesn't make you more intelligent per se, because like I've read I'll give you an example. I've read 300 and something Star Wars books. I am no smarter for that. I just like Star Wars. I'm not any more intelligent than that. I know a lot about a fictitious world that has no practical application on the real world, and the only books that I've read, I have 2 books on my shelves that I love, by the way, which are the Star Wars and Philosophy and Star Wars and Philosophy Strikes Back books. Those ones are cool because they actually talk about the philosophy of specific things inside of the movies, right? Whether or not the clone troopers have free will, and differences between the philosophies of the Jedi and the Sith, and we've talked about this a bit on the channel. But apart from those, most of what I'm getting is just it's brain candy, right? So I guess I read a book recently the conversation was so uncomfortable. I have nothing in common with this person at all. I know for a fact, even still, that this person, I'm not well liked by them. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But it's just, yikes! It was so uncomfortable. But just that yikes coming into my, like you said, yikes! That conversation. That's the first thing. That's the first word that came into my mind when I heard I guess I read a book though. Was yikes? Yeah. Sounds like the guy was in one of those argumentative moods. It was a lady. It was a lady. She and I have had many a disagreement, and it's never ended up in a way that I looked at it and was like, well, okay, she really knew what she was. I don't argue. I mean, I'm not here to argue with everything. If I think something's wrong, I just say it's wrong, and then I ask, if you can correct. Here's the thing. I'm always happy to be corrected too. I really am. I don't mind being wrong. I would rather you tell me I'm wrong and show me where I messed up and me change than be right in that conversation but wrong ultimately, and it end up having a major compound interest. It's kind of this compounding interest of detriment. So I'm okay with you coming and being like, you're not right. I mean, okay, show me where I was wrong, and then you show me. I say, okay, I get that. If you watch my gallery of thoughts, you'll look at how I hope what you'll see overwhelmingly. I'm pretty sure I know that there are certain examples of it, but anything that you see up here that's on the channel, I think you're going to see me go, I didn't think of it that way, or you'll see me argue it, but I don't usually. I'm like, oh no, you're wrong. I'm usually. I want to learn, and I'm okay being wrong as long as you can show me where it is, and I'll happily change. I mean, heck, if you could prove to me that, I've said this before, if you could prove to me your religion is 100% or even just absolutely the most probable, even out of atheists and agnosticisms, I'll convert right there and then, genuinely and fully. But you have to have compelling evidence. If we're just talking philosophies, I'm going to have my questions, right? And they may come contrary to what you believe. Not every bit of media needs to be meaningful, but it's definitely more healthy to have one that makes you think every so. Yeah, exactly. That's a perfect point. I agree with that. Like, it's okay to have brain candy. It's just the same way as with foods. It's okay to eat some candy sometimes, but you need to make sure that you have some meat and vegetable and fruit, or whatever it is that your body can take. My body doesn't do well with fruit and vegetable, but you need to determine what a diet that has substance, right? And then it's always okay to have a little bit of sweet on the side. That's how I am with my reading. I love reading philosophy, but sometimes I want a Star Wars book, right? And if I were out reading a Star Wars book, you don't think that very many people would look at me and go, oh, well, this is performative. But we are getting to that point where it doesn't matter. Even if you're reading brain candy, somebody is likely to call you out for being performative because they don't read, or they can't read well. What's the last book that they've read? Oh, it's this. Oh, yikes, I've got a meeting. I've got to go. I'll be out of state, not this next week, but the week after, I think. No, not this coming week, not the week after, but the week following that. And I'm going to bring a book with me because I don't want to talk with everybody. This is one of those networking where everybody wants to get together and shake hands. I don't like that. I don't care about any of that. So I'm going to do whatever training, whatever workshop I have to do. And then I'm going to go to my little hotel room and I'm going to read like I do every single time in the quiet of my room with nobody else around. And that's what I want to do. And I don't care who thinks it's performative. I don't care who thinks it's genuine. It doesn't matter. I just want to read a book. I can't get over, I guess I read a book recently. It sounds like he wasn't, oh yeah, she, I guess it sounds like she wasn't entirely sure. She did. Yeah, because well, I think that this is an opinion. I could be wrong, but I think it wasn't because she had read a book. I think it was because she believed that my reading a book was a competition. It was an affront to her. And in order to have a stake in that game, she needed to have also read a book. Right. I know some really intelligent people who aren't readers, and they'll flat say that. They'll say, I can't sit down and focus on a book for long enough, man. I got to do other stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I don't think less of people who have trouble. Like, for example, if somebody has ADHD, for example, I don't sit there and go, oh my goodness, you can't read a book. They have a condition which makes that difficult. It doesn't make them less intelligent. But not everybody has ADHD, and even if somebody is able to read, it doesn't mean that, like, I think that having the skill, I think that being able to read, I think that being able to extrapolate large meaning, I think the ability to look at words and have a strong lexicon, but also to look at words in context, contextualize them based off of the remainder of the sentence or the paragraph, or be able to look them up and add them to that lexicon we were talking about before. That's important. I think those are skills that are going away. Yeah, we don't see eye to eye on a lot of stuff, and it's okay. I mean, I don't, like I said, if I ask a question and the answer it goes against my ethics, I just say, I'm sorry, I'm not going to participate. I've done that plenty of times. I'm not here to compete with you. If I'm competing with you, I really have to think you're someone special, and that you really do embody the mark of success, or of balance in my case, and there aren't very many people who do that. It's a weird, it's a weird world we live in. It really is. It's a weird world we live in. But this is why I think we need to start changing. This is why I think that we need to start. Obviously, when we talk about not caring, you shouldn't care what people think about you if you don't respect the person. You shouldn't give respect too freely, because if you give respect away too freely, it's not worth anything. You don't give things that are, I mean, think about it with anything that's worth anything. Think about, you don't give, money's not worth a ton to me, but it's worth something. I don't give money away for free because it's worth something, right? So respect is the same way. It's worth something. I don't give it away for free. Time is worth something. I don't give it away for free. Courtesy is the baseline that is kind of afforded, and then from there we can develop respect or disrespect as we need to. But I think we have to be more intentional about who we give these things to, and I think we need to be more intentional about what we believe our own personal codes to be, and what lines that we won't cross due to personal philosophies and ethics, and when it's appropriate, even with somebody who has a higher title, to say, no, I don't think I can do that because XYZ, whatever the reason might be. I think those are things that we need to be okay doing. I think we need to be okay doing without too. I don't want to tell anybody to live the life of a miser, right? Hoard every cent and spend none of it, and But at the same time, I think it's okay not to support people and companies who don't support you. I think it's okay if Sony doesn't want to practice consumer-friendly practices. I think that customers shouldn't practice Sony-friendly practices. If somebody wants to come and everything has to be a competition between you because they're threatened intellectually, pay it no mind. It's not worth my attention. I mean, if somebody's worried that they're not as intelligent as I am, then they can work on that for themselves, whether that be to become more intelligent or to realize that my intelligence shouldn't be the marker. It should just be to better themselves, you know? I'm not arguing that I'm intelligent at all. I have no indication that that's the case. I only know that I strive to be more intelligent tomorrow than I was today. But we have to start being much more careful, I think, and much more intentional in the way that we address these types of problems. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. I may not be looking at it the right way, but this is what I think. I think we have to start changing. We have to stop listening to the people that have titles and money as if what they say is what should be because of a fundamental philosophical or ethical reason, and start realizing that these people are people who are motivated to do or ask people to do what will benefit them. And when you don't do that, they either are big enough to disregard you or try to disregard you, and in which case you need to become more vocal about your opposition. You need to become more active in your opposition. Or they care enough to try and placate you, and you have to be bright enough to realize that it is just a placation and continue to push through and question and demand until eventually whether it is begrudgingly or for benevolent reasons, you get what you need to get out of that transaction. And again, that could be business or it could be social. To get what you want or need out of a social transaction in a lot of ways is a lot easier or a lot more attainable than to get what you want to out of an en masse business transaction. So, but that's kind of what I'm saying as far as it goes. We have to start changing the way we do things. We need to stop being about the instant gratification and being more about being gratified more fully and more completely for a longer period of time by whomever we choose to engage in. If it's conversationally, then we converse with people who gratify us in the way that they speak, in the way they address us, and the things we talk about. If it's business, then they gratify us in making sure that we are satisfied in receiving everything we've paid for, and that we have things that should be, I think, intrinsic of those, which is to walk away with something that cannot be taken away from you. In a conversation, it could be the pleasant emotion or memory that can't be taken away from you. In the case of actual physical transaction, it's the thing you were given. The thing you were given should not be taken away. You should always be able to have access to that in the best form possible. And any argument that comes back and says, well, no, that's not what it is, or that's not what, we want to be able to do this infinitely, or then it's something that we should say, no, we demand that we get this. This is ours. This is, I demand that my purchase gives me the product that I've paid for as my own. I demand that the time I'm investing in you be reciprocated in kind, or I should stop giving you time, right? I don't think we're doing that. I think a lot of people are kind of looking at it and saying, well, it won't make a difference. Nobody else cares, so it won't hurt if I do this. And by doing that, we still, even if we believe it to be in tiny increments, we still feed the beast. When we give time to people who don't respect it, when we give money to companies who don't respect it, when we put knowledge out there to people who throw it away, when we put, listening ears out to people who have nothing to say, these are all wasted efforts, and we're the ones losing, no matter which way, no matter whether or not the rest of the world cares. We're still losing out on it because we didn't fight. We didn't make sure that we were heard. We didn't make sure that we valued our own times and perspectives and such enough. And I think we should start doing that. I think we should start being very, very vocal about that, very, very active in that way. From all the way up to country and government, to all the way down to every time you speak with another individual. That's how I feel. if anybody disagrees or has concerns, I'm always happy to field those. And again, thanks for everybody just listening to this, because it's not a popular thing to say or think right now, and it's okay. I don't need it to be popular. I want, if something about it resonates, I want people to be able to act on that also. What annoys me is the people who claim that they're going to boycott or whatever, yet don't. There's a ton of liars and bandwagoners. I agree. I think that there are people who say that they're going to, and then they go out and they buy we talked about this. So for anybody who isn't familiar, I do have a Substack account. I've only written 2 articles on it so far. They're decently lengthy. So if you're interested, you're more than welcome. I think the link is in my description. You're more than welcome to go give them a read and comment on whether or not you believe or agree with it. I'm always happy to have a polite debate there, or here, if you read it and you're like, I'm not buying a single thing on PS again. Meanwhile, Black Ops ports skyrocketed just a week or 2 after all of this digital news, and Sony continued. Oh yeah. That's exactly what I was going to point out. Is so I wrote 2 articles. One was called "The Public Potato Chip," and it was basically about how we had become so comfortable in consuming everything, buying everything, that we had become hedonists to an extent, and it was becoming kind of economically or individualistically economically obese, I guess. It was hyper-consumerism is basically, and I was talking about how I don't have any problem with consumerism. I mean, I'm a chronicler and a collector, but when I'm talking about hyper-consumerism, I'm talking about the compulsion to purchase something for the sake of just purchasing it, right? In my case, I'm very intentional about what I'm collecting, and I'm going to show you today what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do with all of this. But I talked about that, and then the other one I talked about was about making sure and maintaining ownership, making sure that we are doing things that make consumers heard. And I talk about exactly that. Black Ops 2 and the DLCs got ported. If you have the subscription service, you get them for a discount. If you don't, they're still $40 a piece. Plus the DLCs are not included. You have to purchase them separately. So to purchase the whole group, it's like $100. I think it's $39.99 for each game. So that's $80 there, give or take. And I think it's $20 for each DLC, right? So that's $40 additional dollars right there. So we're looking at actually about $120. And the people that were, this came out right after the digital debacle, and everybody's upset apparently, and then boom, all of a sudden Black Ops and all of the DLCs sell like crazy. These are not HD remasters. These are just ports, just able to make it play on the PS5. I'm in the middle, though, admittedly. It is what it is. Do I want physical games to continue to be available? 100%, but I've also pre-ordered Marvel Tokan game because I want to support Arc Sys. I don't. So here's the thing. I don't have a problem. So if you go, for example, I want physical games to be available too, but what I care about mostly is ownership. The physical portion of it is nice, but what I care about is ownership. So if you, for example, go to Epic right now, Epic Games, and you buy, and I think even Steam is, but for sure Epic Games right now, and you buy the Spider-Man games, which were Sony games, on Epic, you get those DRM free. The Epic versions are DRM free for Miles Morales, Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2. So those are all digital, but you actually have DRM free copies that you own, which do not require you to open up Epic Launch or any of the other launchers. It's just, you can play the game, right? So I agree. I'm with you there. I want things to be physical, but if they aren't physical, I'm okay with digital if you own them, but only if you own them, because they can shut a disc down too, right? It ain't Arxis' fault. Sony are being arrogant idiots again. They're making a game I'm looking forward to, and I love the beta, so I'm getting it, but get the other side when it's genuine, though. Oh, sure, yeah. I'd prefer owning things mean owning them, though I'm a bit behind on the Sony news. Basically, Sony's trying to take away physical copies and that's going to effectively create a monopoly because a lot of Sony first-party games can only be purchased on a PlayStation platform or through Sony's site. With Steam, you can purchase game codes from other vendors, and Xbox has a lot of PC outlets for a lot of their primary games that you can purchase from too. If they take away physical games, then you can, like for example on God of War, you can only buy God of War Ragnarok. You can only buy God of War Ragnarok on Sony. You can't buy that. There's no PC port. And so that means whatever the price, if you want to play that game, the price is whatever Sony says the price is. Nobody has the ability to compete with them and drive that price down, which is effectively a monopoly on a particular topic. And all of the games, if you've ever read the end user license agreement, EULA agreements, these are EULA, end user license agreements, you'll see that a lot of these things have DRMs which require you go through the launcher and it checks your thing every time, and you have a license to play the game, but you don't actually own it. So if you violate a term of service, they can even terminate your ability to access the single player portion of the game. So that's kind of where things are. Sony's taking away, they have all this DRM, and then they're also taking away a physical copy. The thing is, a bunch of these companies are probably breathing a sigh of relief that Sony took the hit first because they all want to follow the same path. Oh, absolutely. We know Take-Two for sure wanted to do that first. Like when the new game cost came up to $70. Yep. That's the thing, though. The arguments aren't all genuine. People keep saying it's about physical, it's about discs. Yet in the same sentence, they say they're going to sell their PS5 and go to Steam. Yeah, go to Steam, an all-digital platform. Makes sense. Exactly. And that's why I say I would prefer physical. I'm with you on that, right? I don't think you're in the middle. I think you and I are on the same side. Like, I'm okay with it being digital. I don't have a problem with that. I want ownership. Physical has there's an element of physical that does have an ownership, and I've talked about this before. There's a website called Does It Play? I think it's .org. If you go to Does It Play, it will tell you how much of the actual game is on the disc. And so if you buy a PlayStation 5 game and you go onto Does It Play and it says this game can play from the disc without updates, that's all Does It Play does. Like, that's all they do is test and see what games have how much on the disc. And then they publish that information. There are a lot of games out there that the game is on the disc, doesn't require an update. Like Elden Ring for the PlayStation 4, for example. Games on the disc, doesn't need an update necessarily. I want the disc on that in that case because the game's on the disc. So even if the online portion doesn't work, doesn't matter. I can just detach from online, play it from the disc, no problem. But again, I've talked about this multiple times. I also am a huge proponent of GOG, and GOG does not own physical copies. Now, I can make my own physical copies. As a matter of fact, GOG has videos and affiliates out there who show you exactly how to make your own physical library, big box library and stuff like that, which I kind of want to start doing because I have such a huge GOG collection. I'll actually show my GOG collection off again here in a minute because I'm going to show you exactly why I believe this is a good thing. But my point is that you can actually go make your own physical versions out of the digital because there is zero DRM on it. I don't have to use the GOG launcher. I do use the GOG launcher sometimes, but I don't have to. I have buttons on my Stream Deck. I don't have a Steam Deck. I have buttons on my Stream Deck that launch the game without any other launcher, just the game launcher, and that's it. The new Halo remake isn't all on the disc, which is unfortunate. I haven't messed with that. As a matter of fact, one of the things that somebody used to try, so my Discord wasn't the only thing that was hacked. My PayPal was also hacked, and they went and bought a whole bunch of games. That was one of they bought like a digital code for that, which I didn't get. I got the receipt saying somebody bought a digital code. I didn't get the digital code for it. I wasn't really interested in it. I mean, I've got I have Halo like 5 times. I have the Halo original, I have the Halo anniversary pack, I have the Halo the Xbox One Master Chief collection. I've 3 times, I guess, and I've got, so I was like, I don't really need this new one. I don't really want it. I've actually been enjoying going back and just playing the old ones, like going back, putting the Halo disc in the original Xbox and playing the old Halo. I don't care at all about this new one. What's the new game Arxis is working on, by the way? Marvel Token. Yeah. I could have sworn. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. New fighting game. Love the beta. I saw the pictures for it. I saw the posters for it. I haven't really messed with it. Again, I'm much more about collecting the retro games. These new ones, I don't care. Like, I don't care about these new ones all that much at all. I think, like I said, the only ones I'm really excited for that are going to come out, and I'm going to get a physical disc for it, is, like I said, Blood of the Dawnwalker. I was going to get the Wolverine brand new. I really wanted to get the Wolverine brand new, but I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm going to wait until it gets used, and then that way I don't want to give Sony any money. I think I'm going to wait, and somebody buys it and returns it. I'll buy it from there, just so that I know Sony got money one way or the other, but they didn't get any of mine. I think that's what I'm going to do. The new Castlevania game coming out is going to be great. I'm going to be excited about that. I think GOG's going to have that one day one, so I'll probably get it on GOG. But yeah, I don't care about these new games at all. Like, I just don't. I don't care at all. I don't do fighting games, but keep it with Guilty Gear. Sounds cool if it's made by them. Yep, same devs, really high quality. Yeah, I think, like I said, the only Marvel, I mean, like, that Marvel game looks cool, and I've played Marvel Rivals, I guess, because it's free, but I think the only Marvel game I'm really interested in getting my hands on eventually will be the physical cartridge. They had, like, the Marvel Retro Collection. It's got, like, the X-Men arcade game from, like, the early 1990s, late 1980s. It had that. It had, I think, one of the, like, the Punisher game on it and such. Eventually, I want to get that. I think that would be really cool. But it'll be kind of the same thing. Like, I'll find a used one. Somebody will buy it and then sell it on eBay for, like, $20. I'm like, all right, cool. Because I'm not going to pay the hyped up limited run cost. No interest in Dusk Fade. New action platformer heavily influenced by the PS2 era. Demo was good. I hadn't seen it. I've been really into just picking up retro. It doesn't mean I don't have any new games by any stretch of the imagination, but it's definitely been. I'm very much more focused on retro games. As far as new games go, I just kind of let them fall by the wayside. I don't care about new games very much anymore these days. The old ones seem to have fun. There are some games that like I said, I am excited about the new Castlevania game coming from the Dead Cells maker, and I did like Dead Cells. I am excited again about Blood of the Dawnwalker, just from being from the previous Witcher 3 studio guys. I think that's going to be great. But there are a couple of Star Wars games coming. The Star Wars Racer game coming out in October, I think, will probably be fun. I'll probably get that on. But again, I want the disc. So if it doesn't come out on GOG, and it probably won't because it's going to be heavily multiplayer, I probably will grab that one on Xbox. So long as it comes on the disc. Because if it doesn't come on the disc, if the game is just not on the disc, I'm not going to do that either. I always like to support games like Dusk Fade because they're doing what people are constantly asking for, games that with that old feel. Random L. I'll take a look at that then. I mean, games that feel more like that, I'm okay with, I guess, but I haven't seen anything on it. Again, it's just been, like I said, new games are just not. There are a couple of them, but I'm just not real excited. Especially these remakes. Like, I'm not a big fan of the remakes. I'm just not, like, I don't know. There are a couple of games that have kind of gotten some of these glow-up remake style things, and Dead Space, I guess, was kind of, but like Dead Space went from $70 to like $10 in a matter of months. So I waited. I was just like, all right, and I waited until it went down to like $10, and then I picked it up for the Xbox. Hey, I'm not gonna spend friggin' $70 on this. I got the original way back when it came out. I didn't spend $70 on that one. Brand spanking new. I'm not gonna spend $70 on this. Like I said, I'm buying retro games for the most part. Let's see if I can show you actually some of the stuff. This is, again, I'm just going to show this off. I don't have any sponsorship with these guys. I wish I did. I really love these guys a lot. Want the link here and wherever you want. Either one's fine. If you want to send it on the Discord, I can take a look at it here in just a minute, but unless you wanted me to take a look at it right now. What happened? Alright, let me take a peek at this real quick. I'm going to turn the... Hold on. Let me turn the music off real quick, and we'll take a look at it on here. Why not? Let's take a peek. Oh, I've made a mistake. 1 second. Move back to the gallery for just a second because I did wrong with the music. There we go. Let's try one more time.
Please, you've been locked in there for weeks. It's not good for you.
I'm not going anywhere until I'm done with this.
This has got a very, like, Kingdom Hearts style. Oh, wow, okay.
I won't leave without Lyra. I need to find her.
Oh, yeah, this is cool. This has got, like, a... Okay, this is pretty cool. Yeah, this definitely has a PlayStation. I mean, it's definitely. I mean, you can definitely tell it's HD, but it has a very PlayStation 2. Like your character feels like Kingdom Hearts cross Ape Escape, I guess. If you've never played Ape Escape, by the way, I think that's a PlayStation 1 gem, as opposed to a PlayStation 2 one. But lady character feels very Dragon Quest. That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat. We'll cancel that. That's pretty neat. I like that. Oh, it's Mark Kobe. Hi, Mark Kobe. He's the FISM champion. He was a card magician and does a really good job. And I got suggested to myself. The one that I'm doing right now got suggested to me, I guess. That's really neat. Okay, I might do that then. Am I on HD or am I on SDPC? Come on, this is HDPC. Hold on, give me a second to make an adjustment here. Let me give me a second to make a quick screen adjustment. I'm going to move you guys back over to the gallery real quick, just because for some reason, oh, studio mode here. I would say I like that look. I think that has an appeal to it. I really like that. That gallery of thought video looks really cool. It recommended me to myself, which is weird because I don't think I watch a lot of my own content. As a matter of fact, I don't think I watch any of it, but let me see here. I think is there a filter or something that's kind of making that a weird shape for the, oh yeah, there is. I see what happened. Is that also what's happening on this other one? Oh, I see what happened. Yep, I see what happened. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Let me go back to this then. There we go. Turn studio mode off. Oh, wait. Turn studio mode back on for just a second. I gotta check one more thing. Just make sure I turn that off. So if I go up here, okay. We'll try it. We'll see if it looks all right. Let's take that off. All right, cool. Arkham Origins. Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm going to show this off. Man, I really, 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 I get it. I love consoles, but I really, really, really like ownership a lot better. Push that button a little harder, I guess. Boom. There we go. Check this out. So this is my updated GOG collection. It's been a while since I've shown this off. I have a lot of games. But again, this is about preservation. So I can actually take these games. These games are DRM free. And I'm going to go to GOG owned library. There we go. These games are DRM free. When you buy the game, you own the game, and I'll demonstrate that in a second. And you can actually make your own discs if you want to with these, and the game will be on the disc. You can make your own thumb drive or USB drive or SD card, and take it to a friend's house and play it on their system. I'm going to tell you what I'm going to show you right here is what I'm doing, and then I'm going to show you something else I'm doing. And I think I've talked about this with a couple of people. People have these different ethics things, but I'm gonna explain my opinion here for a second. So I have a ton of games on this, and all of the games are, you've got some of these. By the way, some of these games I bought, and some of these games they give in giveaways, and some of these games you get for free from Luna. Luna has this thing where they give out certain games and they partner with GOG, so I get all these free games. So some of these are my purchases, some of these were given through other services I use or GOG giveaways. And if you ever do join up with GOG, they do have GOG giveaways every so often, so you can literally just go to your email, it'll say GOG giveaway, you click it, and it just adds the game to your like this 60 Minutes to Extinction was not something I bought. It was something given to me. So it's really cool. But they have weird games I don't know where else you can find American McGee's Grimm. I don't even know where else you can find it. They have all of these games. This is another one that's really good. Anachronox is hilarious. It's like a comedy style. Where I don't know anywhere else you can find. Maybe Steam has this. I think I bought it for 99 cents. And that's another thing. A lot of these games I purchased for like 99 cents. Right? I think these phone games, I think I got for like 99 cents. I think I got this for $1.99. But you can do that. But there are also games that are kind of hard to. Well, have I broken it? What have I done? Can I just use I guess I'll just use I've done something wrong with the mouse, I think. But there are also games that are kind of hard to come by. So the Batman game, these games are easy. Like these games are in a collection you can buy on the consoles, and they're easy to find. No problems. This one's a little bit of a bugger because for whatever reason, this game kind of didn't. It was on the Wii U and it was on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. I don't think it really got its just desserts or just rewards, whatever the appropriate phrase is. And here's a GOG DRM free copy. If I click into the GOG DRM free copy, it'll tell you, if I go over here to extras, right here, is the game and the season pass. I can download these right here to any folder or file I want, and then I can burn them to a DVD-ROM or CD-ROM, or I can put them on a thumb drive, and that person doesn't have to download GOG. These are the backup installers. They are offline installers. So you can't actually see my mouse, but if you take a look at the little glowy parts above this one, you can see offline backup installers. So you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with these games. Let me go back. I'll go back again. There are a ton of games. I'm going to see again if okay. Oh, I see what's happened. Okay. But there are a ton of really cool games. We've got the BioShock games, right? We've got Beyond Good and Evil, which is a classic. We've got Beyond Two Souls, which is one of the Quantic Dream games. Quantic Dream games like Heavy Rain are on this platform. We've got the BioShock games, including Infinite and both the remastered versions of 1 and 2. The Blood Rain remastered games, which are great. I don't yet have the Legacy of Kain update games here on this platform, but I will get them. Bloodstained, of course, which is great. Cabernet, I love my vampire games. You have a ton of awesome and funny and interesting little games, and you own the game. The entire game is on there for you. Here's obviously Cyberpunk because CDPR made it, and I like them a lot. Other little pixelated games too, which are really neat. These kind of interesting pixel looking. I can't really. Can we see the big picture? There we go. But these pixely games, story based games, which I really like. I actually got that one for Anna, but I've taken a look into it and I kind of like it a lot. And then Darksiders, like even over here, we've got Darksiders, we've got Darksiders 2, we've got Darksiders 3, all of them with all of their DLCs if they had DLCs. Thimbleweed Park, which was an Ash recommendation, of course, which is really good. Deadly Premonition, which was under the radar. The Deus Ex games, including the newer ones. I say newer, of course, these are both still pretty old. I think this one is like I think the original one came out in like 2013, maybe 2016, but either way, it's getting there. The Dishonored games, but then also Dino Crisis, which was a PS1, big PS1. The Devil May Cry games. The only one that I don't have on here is 5, which hasn't been released on here yet. But 1, 2, 3, and 4, and all of their respective DLCs for 4, I guess, not for 1, 2, or 3. I mean, look, these, and then you have classics. You have these silver box games, the gold box games. That's not, it's gold box, but the Doom games, right? Both the classics and the new games. Each of these games that you see, I own full downloadable versions, DRM free, that I can do whatever I want to with whenever I need to. So if you are, and you don't need a super powerful computer, especially if you're going after some of these retro games, or if you're going after some of these retro style games like Grease here, which is a really great game that came out about 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. You don't need a super powerful computer, and you can buy a ton of these games and play straight off the bat. It doesn't, a lot of these are older games. But yeah, the Hitman games, Absolution, Blood Money 2, Contra. I mean, all of those, which Codename 47 for the most part was just PC or just, I think it may have come out on PS. I think it may have come out on PS. I can't even remember, PS1 or 2. It had to be 2, right? But, and then there are some new games. I have very few of them, but like I have the Indiana Jones and the Great Circle game, full games here. This is a DRM free copy of a really good game. So I'm recommending taking ownership by using platform. Oh, these are the old ones. Okay, I was like, I thought I didn't have the remastered ones. These aren't. These are the old ones. That's okay. The Leisure Suit Larry games, which are hilarious. I bought it as a pack, so I just realized that there are a couple of the ones that suck in there also. But the games are generally pretty fun. The Life is Strange games got 2 of those. The Mafia games, right? Mafia 1, 2, and 3, including the definitive, which this was actually a giveaway. Mafia 1 was a giveaway. So that was great. Lords of Exile, DRM free. The Messenger, DRM free. The Metro games, DRM free. The Shadow of War and Shadow of Lord of the Rings games. You're not really, when you're going to another platform, you're not really sacrificing anything. What is this? Oh, okay. I was like, I didn't think I had the second one. That's not the second one. You own these games. When you have games here on this platform, you own them. You do not require this launcher to open them. They are your games, and GOG has put a guarantee out saying if you purchase them on the platform, they will make sure that you can download them and use them at your leisure. So, first way, you have an alternative. You can move over here. Now, anybody who's PlayStation specific, the God of War 2018 game is on GOG. The Tomb Raider games, which are not exclusive to PlayStation, but QRST. I thought, yeah. You can see. I guess it's just they're all 3 here, but I forget that. I think one of them's called Shadow of the Tomb Raider, so I think it's under SH. I don't know where it went. Am I just wrong? I could be wrong. No, it's right there. Okay. So I have all of those. But so you have, I mean, like, you're not really wanting for variety and choice. I have a lot of really cool games on here. A lot of Star Wars games, obviously. Every Star Wars game that they actually offer is on, you know. And you own your own games. They're yours. You can do what you want to with them. So that would be my first one. Now, I think the second one that I would that I have been doing, second thing that I have been doing. Let's see if I can show how this works. Is I have been working on backing up the disc games that I have purchased on other platforms that haven't been coming out yet. So we're going to try this and see if it works. I don't necessarily know if it will, but this is really cool if it does. I should be able to go, I think it's to, is it that one? No, I'm still working on where I've got these. Boom. And I'm going to open up, once those load, this. And I'm going to try. I'm going to scoot this over here so you can see this. This is Zemu. Tap that button so you guys can see. Hopefully it'll reload here in a second. Let's see if I can do full screen without breaking it. That kind of breaks it, so we'll do not full screen. That'll be okay for now. This is Zemu. It is a way for me to play backed up games that I own. I've played this game on the channel multiple times, or these games, and I'll show you this. Ha ha ha. So I'm actually playing this with an Xbox Duke controller, which is really cool because I love those controllers. So I actually have the black and white buttons and everything on it. But this disc was the game disc that came with an original Xbox when you purchased it. And this is me playing it on a PC as a backup. I have the disc. I have the console. I want to be very clear. I recommend fully that you purchase your games, right? This is not a way to get around purchasing your games. This is a way to get around losing the games that you've purchased, right? I'm going to see if I can do this. I'm going to do a thing real quick just so I think I can get rid of that bar at the top. So let me go back to the gallery for just a second. I have an app, but I think it'll make the stream go all wonky if I do it. I have to remember what it is called. Let's see. That's it. We'll see if this works. Boop. And that one. Okay. Cool. All right. We'll see if it works for good. It may not work for good. It may just be, but that's okay. So anyway, you can see it for now. I think it'll disappear in a minute. But if I can now pick one of these games to play and play it. There we go. From my PC with a file that I have and have access to with a Duke controller. Now, I think I like playing games. I want to be very clear. I like playing games on the console. That's my preference. But we're getting to the point of where some of these disc-based consoles are getting harder and harder to find, and it's getting more and more difficult to, even if you own the game, it's getting more and more difficult to replace the hardware. Okay, I guess it's doing its thing. I might have to turn the sound off, but oh well. And there we go. So I can actually play this game on the PC because, let me hit this button. These consoles are getting harder and harder to come by. They're getting harder and harder to find in good condition. Finding an original Xbox, at the moment, this game right here is only able to be played on an original Xbox with the disc. The disc is not super expensive. Most places that are selling this for like $10 to $20, right? And like I've said before, this is not a way to tell you to stop buying games. Quite the contrary. Please do. Go buy games. Buy your games. But you have an Xbox console. You purchased the Xbox console. They're not making or supporting Xbox consoles anymore. Something gets messed up. You want to be able to still access or play your game. And this is a way to do that. This game can now be played on... I never tried to see what would happen if they just put the line straight up. But anyway, I can play this game on an Xbox. It's upscaled a little bit, but there's really not a ton of modification that's being done. So this is me playing on a PC, a game that I own several times over. It works for every console. I have other ones I've been testing it with to help back up my game collection. So I'll demonstrate some of that also, I'm sure, but this is... There we are. So anyway, this is one of those things about owning, like I said, coming back to owning your games. Obviously, if you can own them on a platform like GOG, which is dedicated to continuing to make them available for everybody, I think that you should absolutely do that. Or whatever your best, your most favorite platform is that's dedicated to letting you own your games and also letting you play them at any given time. But this is... Boop. I've never been able to get into this game. I like this game quite a lot. The first one was fun for the Dreamcast, but this one's really good. But so I'm playing this again. I'm playing this on an Xbox. I'm playing this on a PC with my Xbox Duke controller. So because I'm very much a stickler for the feel of the game. Also, I will 9 times out of 10 I'll play this on my original Xbox, but I now have a way to play it on my PC if I want to. If something happens to my Xbox and they decide they want to support it, there's also no other place to play this game. As I said, they had, I guess, licensing issues or whatever with some of the music, and you can't play this on any other console. There is no other console that had this game except for the Xbox. So this is a way also to make sure that you overcome those types of issues where it's like, hey, I bought this game, I still want to be able to play it. Did I not already? Oh, yeah. So that's just one example. Now, obviously, I'm going to give you a couple of other examples here. So let me go ahead and move us over while I get the next one ready. You're going to hear the sounds because everything's running through the... There we go. We will try another one. Okay. There we go. I think this will do the trick. You're going to hear the sound pretty quick, I'm sure. We'll just let that do its thing real quick. But again, this is a way to keep... I have 2 copies of this game on the disc. This is a way to keep access to those games. I have 2 PlayStations. I have a Slim and I have the big guy. And then I have 2 copies of this game. I have one complete in jewel case, and I have the other one I think is just in a generic jewel case. And I can play this with the PlayStation controller. I guess I can't really do it with the PlayStation controller they gave you, but I can play this with a PlayStation style controller. I can play this with a gamepad, that, you know, a just general gamepad. Now again, I like the idea of playing this on the original hardware, and I have the original hardware, and I have the original controller, and I have the discs, but I now have a way to play a game that, as far as I can see, does not play. The Series S version of Insomniac's Spider-Man looks rough. This is actually Spider-Man 2 Enter Electro. This is the old one here, but yeah, that would be... But I mean, this is the PS1 version of Spider-Man 2, and again, I have this game. I again, buy your games. Support. You're not going to be able to buy this fresh from Sony. You're not going to be able to buy this fresh from, but you can buy these games from mom and pop game shops. You can buy these games from online mom and pops. You can, I'm not encouraging you to go out and steal games. I'm not encouraging that at all. I think you should go out and buy the games and buy your consoles. However, consoles fail, games lose support, and it's not worth it to keep buying the same things over and over and over again because a company decides that they want to sell it to you. They've just decided to unlock a capability that they had made from the very beginning. The PlayStation 5 was actually found to have had compatibilities that are in the hardware that they just didn't unlock, or were unlocking strategically as a part of PlayStation Plus. And it's like, this is not okay. We don't need to continue to buy this. So buy your games, but once you've bought your games, You need to find a way that you can have them and play them free of somebody else having control over them. And I think the way that I do that is having them on hard drives connected to a PC so that I can play these games. You thief, how dare you. No, and that's why I'm being very clear. That's why I want to be very clear, because a lot of, like, there was a study that came out that showed that people that pirated were more frequently the people who also bought a copy. Like, they're whoa. Okay, sorry about that. It's an Amber Alert. Gaming in shambles after man gets Spider-Man. So this is, again, what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to encourage you to do is obviously, like I said, buy your games. I'm never ever going to tell you just steal them, right? Buy your games, absolutely. Support the people that make them. What's that noise the Sony guys got? It was an Amber Alert. Amber Alerts are alerts that we get when a child has been abducted in an area around you. It's not super. Who's Amber and why is she bothering you? Actually, I don't know if it's state sends them out, or yeah, I think it's state sends them out. It's basically you be on the lookout because somebody ran away with a kid. 9 times out of 10, thankfully, in our state, it is two, like a mom and a dad getting divorced, and one has primary custody, but the other one wants the kids, and which while that's a tough thing to do. I understand being a father if I had lost wanting to have my kid. But if it's an actual just complete abduction, that's no. Well, I think that's all pretty bad. But yeah, anyway, that's a hard thing to opine upon. Luckily, I don't have to deal with that. There we go. So I want to be very, very clear. I want to make it so it's very difficult to misconstrue this. I really want you to buy your games, and I want you to support this game right now. I don't think there's a copy you can buy in the world that will actually support Sony, because they've pretty well already all been purchased. I don't think Sony sells this game at all anymore. Now, I could be wrong. Maybe they do, but I don't think so. You got me. My bad. You can play the Spider-Man game. But anyway, my point is, have a way to... Spelling is hard. No, you're good. You're fine. Have a way to play your games. Have a way to go back and play and do what you want to with your games. And again, buy them. Buy them first. And then... Here, we'll do this one just too for good measure. Why not, right? You get your beautiful boot screen again. That noise, super iconic noise. And we'll just, I haven't played any because I'm just kind of showing you what I'm doing. Now, this game I own a couple of copies of, including the Sega Saturn version of it, which is a weird and wonky version, but kind of fun. Kind of a lot of fun. Not a single Mortal Kombat purchased on Retro's GOG. Is that true? Do I really not own a... I'll double check on that, because you might have me on that. I thought I have Mortal Kombat 4. And then I have, and it plays just like a normal one. There's a little memory card partition. I can make the now loading screen do all the wigglies. Loads a little bit faster, but then boom. Now I'm actually still playing this with that same Xbox controller. I do have a PlayStation style controller that I would use. But you can play your games. So the only way to play Symphony of the Night. Well, you could play a couple of different ways, right? The Dark Priest Shaft. Yeah, that is his name. You can play this game on PlayStation 4 in the Requiem collection, or you can play it on PlayStation 1, or you can play it on phone, or you can play it on Sega Saturn, right? You can play it on all those different things, and I have it on all those. I do also have it on my phone. I have the mobile version, because I like Konami and I want to support them. But it's one of it's one of the big deals where I want to be able to play it and have it and own it. And if I change phones or my account changes or whatever, I may not be able to continue to have this game, or I may lose access to the digital rights. In this case, I can always play it if I want. See, how cool is that? Get rid of the disgusting Xbox. It is really not... I'll give you that. It's not comfortable to play... It's not comfortable to play with the Xbox controller. I have different controllers that are Bluetooth compatible that are in different layouts. So this one, I have a Duke controller, and then I have one that's kind of laid out like the Xbox One. I have a Super Nintendo. I have a Nintendo controller. I have a PlayStation controller. I just am kind of showing. But the idea is I'm not taking everything I'm not taking everything and moving it over to my I'm not taking everything and moving it over to my computer. I'm just taking the ones that I've bought, and I'm making backup copies that I can play anytime I want to in a convenient way. And if something happens and I need to work on my console, well, then I can do that and still not have lost access to it, because nobody else is going to work on my console, or certainly the developers of the console aren't going to work on it. No, you're right. I don't have a Mortal Kombat on here. What? I thought I had Mortal Kombat 4. Yeah. They do sell Mortal Kombat on here. I'm going to look at it really quickly and see. I'm just going to look. I think they have 1 through... What all Mortal Kombats have? They have... Yeah, they have Mortal Kombat 1, 2, 3 collection. They have Mortal Kombat 4, and then they have Mortal Kombat Trilogy. Which is not, ironically, the 1, 2, 3. That's a little weird. Okay, well, I will end up getting those, I'm sure. I'll make a mark. Steal everything, including your neighbor's medicine. Make no, not at all. That's what I'm again. What I'm trying to encourage is ownership, not thievery. Right? I'm not telling you to go and do that. The Amber Alert was police finding out about the child retro. I still know children. I have no interest in stealing child, or any children for that matter. Not just a singular child, but any child. Yeah, no, my comment on this is on ownership. It's not about stealing. I don't want you to. I want you to go to GOG and buy what games you can buy from GOG.com, or find out what games on Steam are DRM free or are on Epic are DRM free, and go get those games, right? But if you have old consoles where you're worried about the state of it, it's hard to find, or there's a ridiculous, like Sega CDX is marked up. It's $1,000 if you want one of those things, right? Why? Because it's the only thing that can play the 32X, the CD, and the Sega games. I think you should be able to, if you've purchased those games, I think you should be able to play those games, probably, while you're looking for a reasonably priced one, right? I think this helps with unnecessary markup. I think that helps with that too, but I really encourage going and getting it, right? Well, I don't own a PC, so what a waste of time this was for me. I'm out of here. Goodbye, everybody. Okay, I'm back. Welcome back. You should get a PC. Honestly, I think it would be, if nothing else, I think it would be fun for you to be able to have one, just so you can play some of these retro games that are, again, on GOG. But I mean, if you want to stick with PlayStation, that's okay. I'm not judging people for not sticking with for doing what they want to do. I am judging people who are upset about not owning things for not trying to take steps to own things. And so what I'm suggesting here are copies of things. I'm not suggesting at all that you steal anything, period. I mean, I cannot be clearer on this. I don't think you should steal. I do think you should own. I think you should have the ability to own things. And so it's about as simple as that. We'll try one more, and then I'll show you how well GOG runs, and then I will probably conclude this stream with my final PSA from this. So I'm going to open this up. And I'm going to open this up. Let's see here. And then we will move this over. The reason I'm a PS guy is very specific studios. If Sony ever shuts them down, I'm gone. I'm a fan of specific developers, not companies. Sure. And I again, I'm not blaming you for I'm not blaming you for being interested in Sony. I think that's fine. Let's see if this will show up. It's much more difficult to stream them than it is to just demonstrate. Let's see if it'll do it. It doesn't look like it. This one's having trouble showing up. But it's not a again, I don't have a I'm not, again, for me, it's there are great studios with PlayStation, but we're moving into an era where you still can't own them. And so for me, it's kind of like, what good would being happy or loyal to those companies be if I still don't own them? At the end of the day, I still might only have them for X amount of time. That's kind of where mine comes from. You can hear it, but you can't see it. We'll see if it... We'll try it again. Tell your dogs to stop barking. How am I supposed to steal N64 games from your house with that noise? Oh, they are supposed to be a deterrent. I use Steam mostly because I've never been into consoles really, though I do wish I could do Bloodborne. That would be a cool one to be able to do. Let's see. See if it can be seen. It can be seen. And so... I'm not loyal to them, but I love their games, and I would like to continue to enjoy what they make. I think we're just different in a different time. 1 second. I'm going to take a break and see what they're up to. So give me 1 second here. I'll turn some music on. It was nothing. I have no idea what they were going off about. But I'm back. Let's go ahead and stop the music. Okay. Try this again. But again, it's the idea of preservation in this. This is the whole purpose, is to be able to try and preserve as much of this as we possibly can. Do that and let that flash for a second here. I'm not loyal to them, but I love their games, and I would like to continue to enjoy what they make. I think we're just in a different time. I'm much more in line with you when it comes to old games. Yeah, and I can't, as much as I would like to enjoy games, it goes back to the thing that I was saying before about, it goes back to the thing that I said before about talking about being able to say no to games that are nice or interesting or fun or potentially fun. Grand Theft Auto 6, somebody saying, I want to play Grand Theft Auto 6. And it's like, I don't want to play that game at the expense of my being able to own things, you know? With new stuff, I've kind of lost hope, as sad as that is. I mean, that makes sense, though. I get it. There was nothing hiding under the bed worked. Yeah, I don't know what it was. I was trying to see what they were. Found a Metroidvania called Rusted Moss with pixel graphics. That's cool, but not much recently. How about you? Oh, I've been playing a lot of Castlevania. And so here's Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door. Again, I own this on GameCube, so this is a GameCube simulation. I'm not emulating the Switch version because I don't own the Switch version, but I am emulating the GameCube version because I have the GameCube version right here and I have a GameCube. If that GameCube fails, I'd have to get another GameCube, and this gives me the opportunity to, while I hunt for a much rarer and more expensive piece, and GameCubes aren't terrible right now, but like as I would hunt for a rarer and more expensive thing, then I would have the ability to still play my copy of the game. That's pretty neat. So these are things that I'm trying to do to actively preserve my game collections. Again, always make sure you have the original stuff, but I want to make sure that I also am able to play some of these new ones. Now, I am going to show how well GOG works. I will show how cool that is. I'm going to go and unplug the Duke controller, though, because it will be hard to play. And I will use a Bluetooth controller. I'm using a Zen Pro. These things have Hall effect sticks, so they don't drift. And they're pretty cool. Is it this one? Yeah, that's one. Yeah. Oop. Have you played Saint Slayer yet? As a Castlevania fan, you need to. I highly recommend it. I haven't figured out where I want to get it yet. I don't think it's on GOG yet. Let me look. I'll go ahead and move you guys over so you can see me again. You can see, but by the way, you can see all the games that I have in my library that go on sale. I already have all of these, but they go on sale. Look at these sales too. Like Baldur's Gate is $41, which not bad. Fallout 2 is $2.49 as opposed to $9.99. 59 cents if you want Broken Sword 2. If you want Fallout, one of the classic Fallout, you can get it for $2.49 instead of $10. If you want Life is Strange, instead of $20 right now, you can get it for $2.99. I have a lot of games. Broken Sword. Oh, the house party I got, it came with a whole bundle of things. I got this because the Game Grumps had played it. I didn't realize that it was in the bundle. It had explicit content. So I played it at first, and then I told Anna, I was like, "Hey, I think this game is has some other stuff in it." She's like, "Really?" Because we watched the Game Grumps playthrough and thought it was hilarious, and then realized that the bundle we had bought also had a bunch of nudity stuff, and so I have not played it since. Because I'm like, uh-oh. But Hitman Oblivion is $5 right now instead of $20. Swan Song is I think I got it on a sale for $2.99, but it's $60 game. This is all DLC, $6. $25 for the Life is Strange. I mean, the sales are just, they do a great job with all these. Hitman, if you want the first ones, instead of $7.99, it's 79 cents, you know? So, at any rate, point being, a lot of cool stuff. Oh, Bloodstained down here, $9.99 instead of $40 right now. That's the first boss. Very Dante's Inferno. But anyway, the point being is a lot of cool stuff. We were looking for Saint Slayer. And there's a lot of... I don't know about these games. I've seen this one before, Saint Qatar or Sankt Qatar. I've seen that before. Saints Row I have. That's about it. I think that's all I've got so far. Saints Row Remastered only... do I have that? No, I don't have Saints Row the Third. Full package is $375. Not bad. Yeah, I don't think they have it. $2.99 Tomb Raider, it's a bargain. That's what I'm saying. These guys, they have some great sales. The Sherlock Holmes one, this one I was a big fan of, but they have some really good deals. You can go to the deals tab, and it just shows you everything that they've got on sale. And let's say Tomb Raider. Whoa, hands weren't where do they need to be? And you have the remastered versions, Angel of Darkness, 1, 2, and 3 are $5, you know. And then we were looking at what? Shadow? No, we're looking at the other Tomb Raider. I don't know. Anyway, point being, yeah. Perfectly normal, safe for work games, I see. Most of them should be. Most of them absolutely should be, because I'm not... Save for work is kind of my thing, but we watched Game Grumps. They play House Party, and they even got it modded so that they were in it. And so that was when we bought it. Is we wanted to play the Game Grumps portion of House Party, and then we bought a bundle which basically had all of the DLCs up until that point, and all the extra content. We bought the whole bundle, and then we found out that it had like nudity and stuff, but I didn't pay attention to that. And then yeah, sure enough, you go back and you do pay a little bit more attention. You're like, oh yeah, Aaron had a censor bar on it, so you can censor it, thankfully. But I didn't realize that I wasn't paying as much attention to that as I was them trying to get people in trouble with Frank for stealing alcohol and that whole deal. And so I was like, I should have paid more attention. So I haven't played that game much until, because I'm like, I don't want to, if that's the goal, that's not what I want to play. But anyway, I have it. There's nothing I can do about it now, I guess. You'll love Saint Slayer, designed to feel like a true retro game of the NES era. Castlevania. That's what you said about, what was it? Lords of Exile. And it was, great recommendation. So as soon as I see Saint Slayer, I will absolutely pick that up. I want to make sure I have it on a good, if I have it on Switch, I want the cartridge. If I have it here, I want it on GOG. Installed. Again, on this right here, you have all the different versions, but you also have, there's the season pass. You can even choose to depatch it. So if you wanted to stay on version 1.98, you can do that. You can stay on 1.98. So check this out. Let's see if it'll... Did it pop up? Or did I choose the wrong? Saint Slayer is digital only, but I know they're working on a physical release, but they're incredibly small indie studio. And I'm okay with that. Like, again, if they do it digital, I just want to be able to own it. That's all I care about. So if... I think I did something wrong. If they did decide that they were going to do it as a digital release on GOG, so I could at least own my copy, I'm okay with that. Let me see if I've messed something up, because it's probable that I have. Let's see. No, it shows it's running. What did I do wrong? Okay. Boop. I may have just hit a wrong button. I see Dishonored is on here. Oh, yeah, I'll show you that. Prey 2017, I actually bought for $7.99, and it came with all the DLC. So I'll click that to the background real quick. Own games. Prey P. Prey. Oh, wait. Let's try that again. This will sort it a little bit better. OP. Boom, right there. Boom. Prey 2017, and then extras that comes with the soundtrack. And then this is one of the things I really love is when you buy a deluxe edition with GOG. Prey 2017 comes with the soundtrack in compressed and lossless, and then it came with Moon Crash. It cost, the game by itself was $3.99, or if I wanted Moon Crash and the soundtrack, it was another $4. So I bought the big edition. So, I grabbed it because this. I mean, I'm telling you. But now, see, here's the thing: I own it. This is mine. I have all of the patches. If I want to go back and there was an exploit or cheaty kind of thing here, I can go back to that patch, and I don't have to have these other two. Maybe I don't want to go to version whatever this is or whatever this is. Maybe I don't want to, maybe I don't want to have any of this. Maybe I want to stay on version 109.66486. I can do that. Yeah, that's why I got the soundtrack, because you recommended and sent me that song, and I listened to it, and it was great. It very much reminds me of the last song in Mass Effect, but it's a little better actually. So it's really good. I got it. This is. So let's see if I can. There we go. I feel Slay the Princess would be a fun stream game idea. Curious if it's on. Yes, it is. It's on sale right now. It's like $9, I think. I don't know much about it, but I have seen it. It's normally like $17.99 or $19.99 on here, but it is on GOG. They have a complete edition, I think, too. Love the Arkham. Me too. One of the things I was so surprised about on here was just taking a look at I want, because one of the things that I really am a stickler about is how it looks and how it feels. And this is it on the PC. This is the GOG copy. So remember, again, I used GOG, the GOG launcher, to launch it. I didn't have to. I could have launched it myself. I can burn this on a disc. I have the complete edition, so I'm wearing the Thomas Wayne skin because I think Thomas Wayne's a cooler Batman than Bruce. But this is, and I'm playing it using, I prefer the Xbox controller layout because my hands are very big and my thumbs will knock each other off the sticks when the sticks are too close together. So the Xbox layout offsets it enough that I don't have a tendency to do that. But I'm using a Zen Pro, purple because it's my favorite color. It's a Zen Pro, I think Max or Zen Pro. It's a Bluetooth controller with just the latency feels like non-existent here. And it has Hall effect sticks so that it doesn't drift or it won't drift. And then it has metal reinforced triggers and bumpers. And so I can just... Rocksteady were on some drugs when they made this in 2015, and it's still impressive. Oh, I know. And look at I don't know if they did this, if this is a part of the original game or if it's the computer, but like look at the reflections and the cape and all of that. A lot of the games, you get the PC version, and the PC version has some NVIDIA enhancement. I don't want the AI enhancement, so I won't use that, but it has ray tracing capabilities. And so you actually get realistic light and shadow and all that good stuff, you know? So I'm just taking the world's longest glide into the GCPD here. Now again, remember, this is not a game that I've copied. I bought this on GOG. So even if I can buy it on GOG, even if it means me buying it a second time, I will buy it on GOG because once I've bought it that second time, I don't have to buy it again, right? Whereas if a game is available on PlayStation, for PlayStation 5, I'll have to buy another version when the PlayStation 6 comes out. I'll have to buy another version when the PlayStation 7 comes out. So I'll pay the extra money to buy it on GOG one more time because it will be the last time I have to buy that version of it. Then I can opt to choose whether or not I want to buy. A remastered version. For BioShock, I think I bought the remastered versions bundled for like $5. This is still impressive. This is even impressive still on PS4. Crazy good. Oh yeah, it's a great game. And again, I have all of them, including Origins, which you can't get any bleeding where. So, So again, and it feels good. The game feels good. Okay, where am I? Now, I don't have a crazy powerful computer. My computer is decently powerful. I think I'm using I'm using a 3060. So for frame of reference, we're in the 5,000s now. But I'm using a 3060, and this runs fine. It runs. I'm not having any trouble with it so far. I'm standing still and kind of piddling about because I'm also talking at the same time, trying to think about what I want to do. But yeah, if you take a look at the game runs fine. Like there's no problem. It looks good. And again, I own it. This is mine. I'll tell you why Rocksteady didn't make Origins. It's the black sheep of the series. They never acknowledge it. It's unfortunate because Origins is fantastic. Yeah, Origins is great. I have a statue of the Joker, of the Joker. Inspired by the Origins one. But again, you can get it on the Xbox, the PlayStation 3, or the Wii U, and now you can get it on GOG. And now again, I've bought it on GOG. You can get it, but if you buy a disc copy, it's still used in bad shape, even $25, and that's fine. But I'm going to play it on an old console, so now I have Arkham Origins on this console, which is my computer again. So, okay, I'm gonna run around real quick for a second and then I will take a look. Now, Slay the Princess is, to Maki's point, Slay the Princess is on here. I've never played it before. I'm familiar with that it's supposed to be like a story-based something or another, and I've been intrigued by it because I love story-based games, as I'm hoping the majority of... I love point and click, let's be clear. Like, I think I've been pretty clear on that. I like story-based games, hence the Sierra games. And I also love Sierra, so... before they got bought out by Vivendi. which has been a long time ago now. Can I? Yeah, let's just grapple. Why not? If this is a Thomas Wayne, I think I'd actually just have a flat, like an actual gun. I think Thomas doesn't. I'm pretty sure Thomas doesn't have a problem just killing people. There we go. Commissioner Gordon was beside the.
Sorry, I've got to go. Stay safe, Barbara. You still know how to make an entrance. How's the evacuation going? Last bus crossed the city limits.
There's for anybody who's watched Breaking Bad, there's Commissioner Gordon voiced by Mike Ehrmantraut.
Any lead on Scarecrow? We were tracking an unknown military vehicle speeding through.
Yeah, I love these games. These games were so good. But yeah, again, you can get Origins if you want. You can just play Origins from GOG, and it's great. Again, if I switch computers, doesn't matter. I just have to log into the new computer with my GOG information. I can download it there, or if I want to, I can also just burn it to a disk and put it in the new computer first. It's fine.
Hey, Batman.
It's more a visual novel game with deeper themes, and it's just funny. Feel it would fit well on stream and all. Okay. I mean, I'll take your recommendation, Monkey. I happily will. I'll add it to the collection. I think it's on sale right now for like $9 and change.
Location of Unit 247.
Already working on it.
The guy who voices Scarecrows in Lord of the Rings too. Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Okay, I'm sending through this worker's location. Be careful. Not looking good out there.
And then boom. And then of course you've got all your normal stuff. Like I've got my, I mean, it just, like I said, it feels like and you can see down at the bottom, I'm playing on a Zen Pro. So the Zen Pro actually has the Nintendo button layout in terms of A is where B is where A is X, and so on and so forth. But it plays according to Xbox. So luckily I don't care. So long as it's top, bottom button or whatever, it doesn't matter to me. So I can I know A is B and all that. But in graphics options, what do I have these at? Like I have full screen resolution is 2560 by 1440, which is 2K, I believe, which is the monitor that I'm currently playing off of, is a 2K monitor, which I bought from a pawn shop for nothing because it was nothing. And then I have it on, I have VSync on, I have a maximum of 30 FPS. I bet I could turn it to 60 and it'd be fine. I'm pretty darn sure. And these are all on high spec. So I mean, this is with a 3060, and then here are some of the, like it tells you how much memory usage I have, how much VRAM I have, so let's turn all this on just because why not, right? It says, oh, it's acceptable. I'm only using 4. I'm using almost 5 gigs out of my 12 gigs of memory. Okay, fine. So we'll turn all that on, and then I'll just hit apply, and we'll see if it might kill it, right? But it should be okay. Interactive smoke, okay. So let's go back, and we will well, I just want to see if it looks any better. We'll go back in. Man, these games are fun. I want to play these. I haven't yet. So, does it look any better? I mean, it definitely feels 60 frames, yeah. Definitely feels like 60 frames. I do have my stream capped at 30 frames, so I'll change it back to 30 just to match that. But it definitely feels like 60 frames. So it does, and I can go up to 90. I don't need that. I do have I'll go ahead and do it back to 30 frames because my capture software, I've capped at 30 frames for now. So you'll otherwise get some lag. We'll lose frames all of a sudden because my capture software is missing every other frame. So, but yeah, so let's take a look at that interactive fog and stuff. Like these are the enhancements that NVIDIA does that I'm like, this is cool. See if I can find any fog in the first place. The only problem I think I had with this game is that it had too much. I think the vehicle combat was a little more than I would have hoped, but I still had a lot of fun with it. So it doesn't. I mean, I'm not going to complain. Obviously, I bought it again. I own 3 copies of this game. I own it for Xbox, for PlayStation, and for GOG. And GOG again is the last time I should ever have to buy it, but. I don't know what that was. And the free flow combat still feels great. It still looks pretty good. I was expecting to see frame drops or something. Doesn't look like it. Oh, I tried to dodge and I hit the wrong button. Look at that. I mean, man, this may be a game. I was gonna say I might play this on stream, but at the same time, I may just want to enjoy this to myself. Like, this is so good. Oh, and I saw that too, and it reminded me. I have Sleeping Dogs also. Sleeping Dogs is one of the. If you've not played Sleeping Dogs, you need to play it. It is such a good game, but same situation. I mean, you can. Oh. I find out that that's just a random dock worker. I didn't hit the button in time for that. You earned that one, bud. But I mean, you're not sacrificing. Well, my point is you're not compromising. So long as your computer is decent enough, you're not really compromising the quality of the game. Used to the whole purpose of the PC gaming and console gaming differences were supposed to be because in the consoles are supposed to be more affordable. Right now, I have a pretty good PC, and if I want to upgrade my GPU, I can spend $100 and some odd bucks, maybe sell the current ones, spend maybe $100 and some odd bucks, or maybe $200 even, and upgrade my GPU to maybe I want, instead of a 3060, maybe I want to go to a 4080 Ti, right? And I got stuck on the collision article. Maybe I want to buy a 4080 Ti, and a 4080 Ti is not cheap, right? But I can sell my current 3060 and buy it for $200 or $300 more, and be able to play. Or even if I went to a 3080 Ti, right, which is just 2 models newer than mine, 3 models, I guess technically, because the 3080 and the non-Ti version was first. I could do that for just $100 more, $150 more, something like that. And all I have to do is plug the thing into my, gosh dang it, plug the thing into my current motherboard. I've already upgraded my motherboard. It's good to go. I don't have to upgrade everything all the time. It's not like the Xbox where I can't play my game all of a sudden because I need to buy another console. These tackle guys, my goodness. I keep hitting the B button thinking that that's going to do the trick. Just kicked him right in the back of the knee. So actually the worst, but I don't know if that was a civilian or if that was an enemy. It's like, oh nope, we're done. But anyway, you're used to it was because the consoles were much more affordable. A console would be $299, $199, $299, and you would have. You would have the ability to do that versus a PC, which a PC could run you, $800, $900, $1,000. Now it's not the case. Now everybody's pretty well got the basics of a PC, and unless you're having to start from absolute scratch with just a desktop, you're okay. If you can go buy a new laptop from a pawn shop again, $400 or $500, little about the cost you would pay for a console, a little less, but then you have the ability to make incremental updates to it. And even still, I think desktops are not terrible right now. If you decided you wanted to build your own, you buy your own parts, I think you could probably build one for $400 and and then whenever you decided it was obsolete or whatever, you could replace a part instead of having to replace the whole thing. You know, I want to replace the processor. Okay, well, there's $130, and you don't need to replace them. In my experience, they last longer than. In my experience, they last longer than if you decide to buy a new console. Console lifespan is like every 7 years. The PC before I built this one I had it for over 10, and it was still running really well. So I know that my computer is going to run about at least as well as it does right now. And then if I decide that there are games later that I need to run better, I can always upgrade it. So, I mean, how cool is that? Yeah, it's fine. So again, it's really cool. It's the ability to own your stuff and the ability to own your stuff and the ability to play it in the way that you want to. Do we say slay the princess? Slay the here it is. Pristine Cut is on sale for $9.89, and then the supporters pack is $7.49. So I'm going to assume the Pristine Cut is. I had it wish listed. It's for 18 and up. 18 and up. Psychological horror, so it's probably for gore and such. I'm not. Yeah. So yeah, this will be one that I had it on the wish list, so I probably will end up picking this up for the $9.89 here. But yeah, this would be. They have it here also. And then the other thing that I've been doing is I've just been playing ones you can launch without. This is the last piece, but the ones that you can launch without having to have. I gotta check something out real quick here. Okay, I guess that's fine. The other piece was being able to launch games with no launcher, so DRM free. So I have a couple of them that I have DRM stripped from. So I'll demonstrate that with this. And I have them hotkeyed to my. The reason I was able to do that is I have them hotkeyed to my Stream Deck. It's very quiet music. And there we go. So this is one where I own 3 copies of these. I own the original DS versions. I own digital copies on the Switch, and I own the physical copy of the Switch on this game. So 3 copies. I've played these on stream before I did that. This is one that I have stripped the DRM from so that I can play it on here also. And it works really well. Again, the only other way to buy it on PC is to have it through Steam, which has Steam DRM. I don't want that, so... And so now you have a DRM-free version of this. Again, I've bought this game 3 separate times. I own it on 2 consoles, but I did buy it digital before I found out they were doing a physical release, and then I bought the physical release. And it's great. It's fantastic. I have this version is on a solid state drive, so if I want to play it, it doesn't require an external launcher. I just plug that solid state drive into some other computer, and I can play it just the same as I am right now. This is also my favorite of the DS era Castlevania games. And this one, I am currently playing it with that Zen Pro. I have I have one called an SN30 Pro from, oh shoot, I can't remember who makes that one. But anyway, it's from them. And it actually is a Super Nintendo controller. So not only am I able to play this in the way that it was without DRM, but I'm also able to play this one in a with a controller that I prefer, the Super Nintendo controller. Just gonna open for those sandals and get out of the way of these banshees. So again, being a stickler, one of the things I like, even though this was made for the DS, I never liked the way that the DS felt in my hands, or at least not as opposed to like, 'cause my favorite controller is probably the Super Nintendo controller. So I can actually play this with a Super Nintendo style controller, and it feels fantastic. And it's going to give me this tutorial, even though I've played this game a million times. Yeah. Okay. As I was saying, all I want to do is go in here and save the game. And these little save games take no time at all. So again... Do I even have it assigned? But at any rate, point being is, it's... I may be having trouble with it, but anyway, which way. It's just being able to, like I said, being able to have... I think it's something up with my button. But anyway, something... having just some way to be able to... having some way to play the games that you want to be able to play. So, all right, I will go ahead, move us back to the gallery for a second, and we'll close the game out. And go back to some music. Okay. We'll go here. So, in summary, what I'm encouraging people to do is to start taking what I think should be their right back. I think that we should start doing things that move us in a direction of ownership. We should start doing things that move us in a direction of change or progress. And I think that we should start being critical at people who are against those things. At the end of the day, no matter how smooth they may talk, how smoothly they may talk, and no matter how eloquently they may state something, it's all about them making more money. And even if they try to field it as we make more money if you're happy, or we make, it doesn't matter. It is, at the end of the day, it is truly just a ploy to make the extra money. Left for a bit because I got stung by a bee. Oh, I'm sorry. I was showing that they did have, just so you can see real quick, I'll change it back over. Just real quick. They do have it. It's 45% off for the pristine cut right now. So probably we'll grab that and make something to play. Make a time to play it. Just so that you're aware that they do indeed have it, though. But again, I hope your beasting is okay too, by the way. But at the end of the day, no matter how elegantly they may try to put it, no matter how eloquently they may speak, no matter how smoothly, it hurts less than you thought. Good, good. I think we should own our games. I think we should take steps to make sure that we move in a direction of progress for the people. And if that means that we should do or say things that make these business people uncomfortable, if we should do or say things that make these guys feel like that, we're being anti-corporate or anti-capitalist or anti-whatever, that's fine. I'm okay with that. The objective is just to own our stuff, to have our stuff, to have a word in what we do and say. So, last 500th time I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it just at the end, don't steal. Like, go out, buy your games, enjoy them, but have ways to keep them, right? Don't go out and buy the same game 700 times because your old version doesn't play anymore, not because you've worn it out or mistreated it, but because of... I'm back, just got done shape-shifting into a bee. Stung some guy. Felt bad, though. That's pretty good. I like that. The timing on that was good, too. Because I just, in my headcanon there's like, it took him a little bit to get back because he had to change back. That's funny. But like I said, and I'm going to say it again, in this last piece, don't steal. Like, buy your game, own your game, and then make a backup. Make a place that you can play it where nobody can shut it out and shut it down and take it off and mess it up. Do all of that. Get rid of do the things you need to keep control over the things that you purchase, because when you purchase something, it should be yours and it should stay yours. I hope that those of you who are interested in this will look at GOG. Again, I don't get money at all for anything that you purchase on them. But I am one of their biggest fans when it comes to what they're doing in terms of effort. I remember the FCK DRM initiative back in 2018, which I loved, and I think that that's kind of still the hill that they stand on, the hill that they intend to die on. That's what I was I was wondering about that too. I was like, well, yeah, the stinger takes the whole back half of you off, but but at any rate, it's just one of those things that I think we ought to do. I think we ought to be more pro consumer, and we ought to make sure that we protect our ability to own things. Again, statistics show that people who pirate are more likely people who have purchased the game and are just keeping a copy or making a copy or retaining a copy from somebody else who was able to make a copy, right? So I'm encouraging you to be those guys. Go buy your games and then make your copy. Don't sell them. Don't charge people to play them. Don't put them back out there at a price or a fee or behind a paywall. Don't do any of that. Just back them up so you can play them later and make sure that you have control over your gaming ecosystem. In the same vein, do what you can to maintain control over your politics, over your area, whatever you can do to maintain a modicum of control over the things that you are directly involved in. Exercise. And also deny yourself things that are going to get you nowhere. If I'm going to buy Grand Theft Auto 6, it's going to have to stick with me for some time, and it's being a digital console, being a digital content only, being fully DRM. It's just not worth it for me to purchase and show them any kind of love until I can get something in return, and that return needs to be more than a fun $90 experience for a minute. So, but I hope you all will have I hope some of this might have inspired some of you to do things to protect your gaming to protect yourselves, to be pro-consumer. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And as always, it was a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for popping in, Maki and Ash and Dr. Mad and Fighting Max. Always a pleasure. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.